to deal with family pressure to marry. I paid 9.9 online to find a girl planning a fake marriage, who knew that during registration at the Civil Affairs Bureau. The staff looked at me with disdain. You're already married, and you're still here to register. Don't you know about the crime of bigamy? After walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I looked at the printed marriage certificate, a bit dazed. The girl beside me also said regretfully, Mr. Ling, you're already married. Why did you spend money to hire me? Then she left a word, deposit non-refundable, and quickly ran away. I froze in place, still haven't recovered my senses. I who have never even had the luck to hold a girl's hand. How could I already be married? I looked at the printout in my hand again. The man in the photo on the document was indeed me. Her name was Shen Youchu. She looked beautiful, but I didn't know her at all. Then I took out my phone and took a photo. Sent it to a black profile picture. Help me check who she is. The other party replied, received instantly. I suppressed my confusion, rode my old electric bike into a luxury villa area. Just after parking, I heard the servants gossiping behind me. Who is he? He's so handsome. SHA, don't talk nonsense. He is an illegitimate son, not recognized by the Ling family. His mother showed up pregnant back, then demanding an explanation. That old woman was thick-skinned, always finding excuses to linger at the Ling house. He, however, knew his place. Moved out since middle school. Wonder what he's here for today. I frowned and pretended not to hear. Walked straight into the living room, and my mother, Liu Li, waiting at the door, saw me. Immediately dragged me upstairs anxiously. Come with me to find your brother first. By the way, you got the marriage certificate right. I replied flatly, I got it. That's good. You must remember your status. Shenzhen is your brother's fiancé. That kind of top-tier wealthy family is not something an illegitimate son like you can hope for. Only your brother is worthy of her. A flash of irony appeared in my eyes. Shenzhen pursued me for 4 years in college, but on graduation day, she got together with my brother Ling Fan. Liu Li demanded I find someone to marry immediately, to completely end any possibility with Shenzhen. Since I was young, whenever Ling Fan and I had a conflict of interest, she would demand that I yield unconditionally. I looked at her coldly. It's agreed. This is the last time. This time is to repay the grace of giving birth to me. I could only watch Ling Fan. Arrived at Ling Fan's room, he greeted me with a smile. Ling Yu, why are you here? Before I could speak, Liu Li answered first. Zio Fan, Ling Yu got married today. Ling Fan looked surprised. So fast? Who is she? Is she better than sister Shenzhen? Liu Li said mockingly. How is that possible? In all of Heicheng, you can't find anyone with higher status than Miss Shen. What kind of good family could he find? Probably just some street thug. He didn't even dare bring the girl. Afraid her shabby appearance would offend your eyes. Ling Fan's voice sounded jealous. How could that be? Ling Yu is so handsome. Otherwise, sister Shenzhen wouldn't have pursued him for 4 years. What's the use of being handsome? With his status, only some random person from who knows where would be willing to marry him. Miss Shen just treated him as a toy. Just playing around. Only you. Your status is worthy of Miss Shen. The look and temperament of the woman in the photo could not be associated with a thug at all, but I couldn't be bothered to argue. At this moment, Ling Fan finished putting on his watch, wanted to put on his leather shoes, but found his shirt was too tight, making it inconvenient to bend over. He smiled slightly and looked at me. Liu Li immediately pushed me. Useless thing. Why are you still so clueless? Your brother is inconvenienced. Hurry up and help him put on his shoes. My eyes were cold. You can help him put it on yourself. Ling Yu, a sour feeling rose in my heart. Do you think you've grown wings just because you got a wife? You'll still have to rely on the Ling family in the future. Liu Li's voice rose. If you don't get along with your brother now, one day, you and your wife will be begging him. Besides, the Ling family raised you. You should be a loyal servant to the Ling family. Before I could refute, my father Ling Zhenin suddenly appeared at the door. An honored guest is arriving soon. What are you arguing about here? Liu Li immediately complained tearfully. It's all because of this wicked son. He got his marriage certificate today, and now he doesn't respect me as his mother. Ling Zhenin looked at me. Married? Why didn't you let the family introduce someone to you? Do you have the marriage certificate? Let me see it. Facing the concern of this strange father, I paused and took out the printout from my bag, but it was instantly snatched away by Liu Li. Let me see what your hooligan wife is actually called. On the other side, Ling Fan asked curiously, Dad, who's coming? That makes you so nervous. Ling Zhenin thought of that person and suddenly felt honored. Then he excitedly spoke a name. Shen Youchu. Upon hearing this name, given Dr. Yu's status and wealth, even the Shen family would have to treat him as an honored guest. It's normal that you don't know her. She is very mysterious. Even I have never met her. She is Shenzhen's aunt. only 28 years old, but she has already become the true head of the Shen family. Liu Li exclaimed instinctively. Then wouldn't she be more suitable to be the head than Shen Xin? Much better than some eldest granddaughter of the main house. Ling Zhenan said irritably. What are you talking about? Miss Shen is already married. I narrowed my eyes. Married? If the person on the marriage certificate is really her, then it seems Shen Youchu should know what's going on. Liu Li felt slightly disappointed. Who is her husband? He's even luckier than Xiao Fan. Ling Zhenan frowned in thought. I don't know. It said that she and her husband both dislike socializing. But why would she visit in person today? Liu Li said decisively, it must be because Xiao Fan is too outstanding, which attracted the attention of the Shen family. After speaking, she stuffed the unseen printout back into my hand. Holding Ling Fan's hand, she gave an excited and mocking smile. This look is more attentive than Mrs. Ling, the biological mother. At this time, the butler came upstairs to remind them that the Shen family was arriving. Hearing this, Ling Zhenan hurried downstairs. As he passed by me, he casually said, You haven't been home for a long time. Stay for a wedding drink before you leave. I nodded along. I wanted to stay and see who Shen Youchu actually is. In the room, Liu Li looked at Ling Fan, who was preparing to marry a wealthy lady. Her eyes were filled with uncontrollable joy. Over 20 years ago, if Mrs. Ling Li Xia hadn't appeared, the one marrying Ling Zhenan would have been Liu Li. She hated Li Xia, so to take revenge on Li Xia, during their childbirth on the same day, she swapped the two children at the hospital. Now, her biological son, Ling Fan, became the young master of the Ling family, while I, the true young master, became the despised illegitimate son. After going downstairs, I leaned in the shadows by the stairs, staring toward the entrance, quietly waiting for the Shen family's arrival. I don't know how much time passed. Mrs. Ling Li Xia walked down supported by a servant. She wore a purple cheongsam. Her figure was thin. She exuded a scholarly aura. The servant whispered, Madam, your health is poor. You shouldn't have come down. Mrs. Ling shook her head while coughing. Such an important day for Xiao Fan. I cannot miss it. I looked at her back. My eyes were filled with warmth. It's laughable, really. In the Ling family, she was my only warmth. When I was little, Liu Li often didn't feed me. After Mrs. Ling found out once, she would regularly leave some food for me in the garden every day. She did this for 12 years. If not for Mrs. Ling's kindness, I probably would have given up on myself long ago. Watching Mrs. Ling walk further away, listening to her cough every now and then, I frowned with worry. Just then, a sound came from the door. The Shen family had arrived. Ling Zhenan and Mrs. Ling welcomed them at the door. After some brief pleasantries, they stepped aside. A large group marched inside. I spotted Shen Youchu at once. Her face was even more beautiful than in the photo. Her aura was cold and sharp. Sensing my gaze, she suddenly looked over. That sharp gaze made my heart stir. I wanted to glimpse the emotions in her eyes, but Shen Youchu looked away. This left me a bit confused. Does she actually know me or not? Ling Zhenan complimented with a smile. Miss Shen, where is your husband? Did he not come with you? As soon as he said this, I felt Shen Youchu glance at me again. She is unavailable. And so, the crowd escorted her toward the drawing room, and Shen Xin, who pursued me for 4 years, followed behind. Wearing an evening gown, she looked more mature and poised than in college. She didn't see me. She was just chatting absent-mindedly with Ling Fan. I was standing there quietly when my arm was grabbed by Liu Li. She lowered her voice to scold Ling Yu. What are you still doing here? Have you still not given up on Shen Xin? Let me tell you, she is now your sister-in-law. I shook her off, with a sneer on my face. Don't worry, I have no interest in being the other man. Mr. Ling asked me to stay for a celebratory drink. Ever since I could reason, I have always called Ling Zhenan Mr. Ling. Liu Zukin gritted her teeth in anger. That was just him being polite, and you actually took it seriously. I see you really don't know your place. On an occasion like today, even I can't go and embarrass the Ling family. Does an illegitimate child like you deserve a seat? Now get out of here immediately. I frowned impatiently. Just as I was about to speak, I glimpsed Shen Youchu walking to the balcony to take a call. I brushed off Liu Li and followed her. Just as I approached, Shen Youchu, who was on the phone, hung up the call. Then she looked at me with cold eyes. I paused in my tracks, facing her dangerous gaze. The corner of my mouth curled. I tentatively called her wife. Shen Youchu's gaze was icy. I stared straight at Shen Youchu, observing her reaction. But after hearing that term, she looked at me with an even colder aura, without a hint of emotional fluctuation. Then she turned to leave. I quickly stepped forward to block her path. You don't recognize me. Shen Youchu looked down at me. Move. Should I know you? Sir, I am married. Please behave yourself. I was a bit stunned. This person clearly doesn't know me, yet she says she's married. Could the Civil Affairs Bureau have registered the wrong information? May I ask who your husband is? None of your business. 4 cold words again. I took out the photocopy of the marriage certificate and held it in front of her. Miss Shen, the woman on here should be you, right? Shen Youchu's gaze fell on the husband's name. She mocked. Ling Yu, she mocked. Ling Yu, Mr. Ling. The original isn't expensive, is it? If you're forging it, you should be more professional. After speaking, she didn't return to the living room, but strode from the small garden toward the parking lot. I chased after her, wanting to make things clear, but I was stopped by 2 bodyguards. I shouted at her back. Miss Shen, this document is real. If you don't believe it, you can check at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Shen Youchu got in the car and left directly. Her personal assistant stayed behind. I returned to the living room and ran into Ling Fan. He happened to see me pestering Shen Youchu. His eyes flickered. Ling Zhenan, on the other hand, was worried. Why did Miss Shen leave? Was there something lacking in our hospitality? Ling Fan clenched his fists. His tone was hesitant. I saw Ling Yu pestering Miss Shen. Miss Shen left in anger. She even left a message. She said you should discipline your family members better. With Ling Yu acting like this, will the Shen family think our family lacks proper upbringing? Ling Zhenan's face instantly turned pale. On the other side, while I was frustrated after losing track of Shen Youchu on my electric scooter, my phone suddenly rang. After answering, a female voice came from the other end. Boss, the information on Shen Youchu has been found. Shen Youchu is the second daughter of the Shen family patriarch. Rumor has it she is cold-blooded and ruthless, which is why she was sent abroad from a young age. Everyone thought the Shen family would hand things over to the eldest son, who is Shen Xin's father. No one expected that. Shen Youchu suddenly returned to the country last week. Using some unknown, ruthless methods, she forced the old man to step down and directly took control of the Shen group. I frowned and said, check her contact information and itinerary. I'll go find her later. After hanging up, I rubbed my temples. Things are a bit troublesome. With a status like Shen Youchu's, it's indeed not easy to meet her. I shouldn't have been so impulsive today, calling her wife, which pissed her off and drove her away. I sighed, started my beat-up scooter, and slowly headed home. Leaving the bustling and noisy city center, I arrived at a village within the city in the suburbs. When I first moved out of the Ling family home, I didn't have much money, so I could only rent an old house here. Later, I got used to it, so I never moved. Just as I turned a corner to get home, an old lady in her 80s or 90s suddenly dashed out from the roadside. I braked urgently, almost crashing into her. I thought it was a scam, but soon discovered the elderly woman was dressed decently, with a tag hanging around her neck. On it was a contact phone number, and a note saying if the elderly person is lost, please call the contact number, and a reward will be given. Clearly, the old lady had Alzheimer's. I immediately took out my phone and entered the number on the tag. However, the dazed old woman in front of me suddenly grabbed my wrist, her eyes lighting up. Grandson-in-law, you are my grandson-in-law. My mouth twitched. Single for 22 years. How did I suddenly get another wife today? I found it funny and casually asked, Grandma, who is your granddaughter? What is her name? Oh, right. She is called Shen. Shen, what was it again? The name she just remembered was forgotten the moment she tried to say it. The old woman was a bit anxious, her mouth opening and closing, but she just couldn't say those few words. Elderly lady, don't worry. It's okay if you can't remember. After comforting her, I dialed the number. At that moment, on a nearby street, Shen Youchu was sitting in a Bentley with a grim expression. Beside her, the subordinate Liu Qiang didn't even dare to breathe. It was my failure in care. That let the old lady get lost. She didn't speak, her whole body radiating coldness. The old lady is dazed most of the time. Who would have thought she'd suddenly improve today? Dismissed everyone and secretly went out. Only after checking the surveillance did they find that the old lady had actually taken a bus to the suburbs by herself. This area is quite dilapidated, and many streets aren't equipped with cameras, so they could only search carpet style. Just then, her phone suddenly rang. Shen Youchu answered immediately. My indifferent voice came from the other end. Hello, the elderly person from your family is currently with me. After hearing this, the atmosphere in the car froze instantly. Everyone reacted immediately. Some prepared to call the police, and Liu Qiang was tracking the signal source of the call. Shen Youchu's gaze was sharp, and she asked coldly, how much money do you want? Just kidding. I just wanted to tell you to take good care of the elderly in the future. Then, after giving the address, I hung up the phone. 5 minutes later, they arrived at the location of the old lady, but I had already left. Only a police officer was there with the old lady. Shen Youchu asked, Grandma, why did you come here? the old lady said mysteriously. I came to find my grandson-in-law. He lives right around here. Shen Youchu paused slightly. Grandma, there is no grandson-in-law. Impossible. I saw him. That heartless person of his handed me over to the police and left. Right. Give me your phone. Shen Youchu handed the phone to her. The elderly woman then took from the contacts the recent incoming number and wrote it in a small notebook. She said happily, I finally have my grandson-in-law's contact information. I received a call from my university mentor, Professor Wen. Just as I entered the office, I found that Ling Fan and Liu Li were also there. Ling Fan and I are both at Haicheng University. He considers himself a top student, and to avoid overshadowing him, I deliberately chose the most obscure major in energy and power. But unexpectedly, new energy suddenly became popular 2 years ago. Ling Fan immediately switched majors and became my classmate again. Ling Fan being here was somewhat normal. But why was Liu Li here? Just as I thought of this, I saw Professor Wen with a serious expression. Ling Yu, your recommendation for graduate school has been cancelled. Your mother said your character and background are improper, which does not meet the requirements for the recommendation. Is there some misunderstanding between you and your mother? Hurry up and apologize to her. You have a promising future. Don't let a moment of anger ruin your prospects. Ling Fan sighed. Professor Wen, Ling Yu's mother is also doing it for his own good. He turned to look at me. You offended Miss Shen. Miss Shen said she wants you to disappear from Haicheng. It took me a while to realize that Miss Shen referred to Shen Youchu, but I only said a few words to her. Moreover, before she left yesterday, she didn't seem angry at all. On the contrary, Ling Fan is used to lying. While I was thinking, Ling Fan walked up to me. Ling Yu, this is the plane ticket Dad bought for you. He wants you to go abroad to avoid the trouble. Otherwise, even the Ling family cannot protect you. A flash of mockery crossed my eyes. Isn't it just that they're afraid I'll affect the Ling family? Seeing that I didn't accept it, Ling Fan took out a bank card. Are you worried about living abroad? There are 50,000 yuan here. This is living allowance I'm giving you personally. Use it for now. If it's not enough, I'll give you more when I get my allowance. The great eldest son of the Ling family only has 50,000 yuan. I found it ridiculous, but Liu Li suddenly snatched the bank card. Ling Fan, what are you doing? The Ling family is already doing enough by buying him a ticket. They have done everything they could. She glared at me and commanded, pack your things and go abroad immediately. I have already processed your withdrawal from school. I looked at her coldly. On what basis do you make decisions for me? Because I am your mother. Moreover, with your grades, it'll probably be hard for you to even graduate. You'd be better off leaving early, to work and earn money. Professor Wen couldn't help but speak. Ling Yu's mother, you've misunderstood. During student Ling's time at school, before he could finish, Liu Li interrupted him. Professor, you don't need to speak for him. Do you think I don't know what he's like? Isn't he pursuing a master's just because Ling Fan is? He should take a good look in the mirror and see what he actually is. What right does he have to compare himself to Ling Fan? Professor Wen was speechless for a moment. He looked at Ling Fan in surprise. I remember you weren't recommended for graduate school, nor did you take the graduate entrance exam. Ling Fan smiled modestly. I took the special recruitment route. Seeing the professor's inquiry, he pretended to be humble. It was Dr. Yu. His research on hydrogen clean fuel was successful. He applied for a patent and was awarded a PhD title. I was surprised. Dr. Yu, how come I didn't know I special recruited Ling Fan? To repay Madam Ling's care. I have been using Dr. Yu's name all these years to provide technical support for the Ling family company and fabricated a sponsored identity. Ling Fan continued to fabricate. My mother sponsored Dr. Yu's education back then, so after completing his studies, Dr. Yu found my family, saying my mother was his lifesaver. All these years, he has been providing technical support for our family company. He probably wouldn't refuse any of my requests. Professor Wen believed it to be true. He asked where Dr. Yu was employed. I said, the dean will invite Dr. Yu to teach at our school. Professor Wen was overjoyed. He said to me, Ling Yu, your research direction is the same as Dr. Yu's. I will introduce you to him when the time comes. If Dr. Yu is willing to speak for you, there may still be hope for your postgraduate recommendation. Ling Fan pretended to be worried. Professor Wen, would that be okay? The Shen family is Haicheng's richest family. Every year they allocate a lot of R&D funding to our school. Dr. Yu is extremely sought after right now. If Dr. Yu is willing to step in, the school will definitely choose Dr. Yu. Ling Fan sighed, but Dr. Yu is doing this out of respect for my mother. If it were me, he would definitely help with everything he had. But Ling Yu is my father's illegitimate son and stands opposed to my mother. Ling Yu, why don't I ask Dr. Yu for you? I refused with a cold laugh. Right now Ling Fan looked like a clown. I said to Professor Wen. Professor Wen, you know, I never wanted to go to graduate school anyway. Liu Li curled her lip. Don't waste your effort. After offending Miss Shen, you still want to find a job in Heicheng. Dream on. I don't believe anyone can truly cover the sky with one hand in Heicheng. If you really can't find a job, come be my teaching assistant. Professor Wen was furious, then turned to me gently and said, a warmth rose in my heart. Professor, Miss Shen and I only have a small misunderstanding. It'll be fine once it's cleared up. You don't need to worry. Seeing this, Ling Fan clenched his fists. His tone became sarcastic. Ling Yu, are you planning to keep pestering Miss Shen? She's already married. It's really not right for you to do this. As expected, Liu Li was furious, then slapped me hard across the face. I looked at Liu Li in disbelief. I didn't expect her to hit me in front of Professor Wen. Liu Li felt no guilt at all, pointing at my nose as she scolded. After not seeing you for a few years, it seems you've forgotten the family rules. Apologize to your brother right now, and promise never to see anyone from the Shen family again. The warmth in my eyes slowly faded, leaving only coldness. It seemed she hadn't taken to heart what I said that day about it being the last time. Did she still see me as that ignorant boy who endured everything and worshipped Ling Fan? Since reason won't get through, don't blame me for showing no mercy. Ling Fan watched from the side, a trace of smugness rising in his heart. When we were young, I bowed and scraped before him, never talking back when cursed, never fighting back when hit. Later, after I moved out, we met again at university. He was clearly still that same poor-looking guy, yet he dared stand tall in front of me. Had he forgotten the hierarchy after a few years, without being beaten? Today, I'll let Liu Li teach him a lesson. Just as Ling Fan thought this, he saw me slowly walk up to him. Just as the corners of his lips lifted, thinking I was about to apologize, I suddenly raised my head and smashed my fist hard into his face. Ling Fan's head spun, and his mind went blank. Liu Li roared and rushed over. Ling Yu, how dare you hit him? I suddenly turned my head, murderous aura radiating from my body. Liu Li was stunned still by the look on my face. What are you trying to do, you ungrateful brat? I'm your mother. Are you going to hit me too? My voice was icy as I said word by word. Since you show no kindness as a mother, don't blame me for being unfilial as your son. Don't meddle in my life again. If you dare do anything to me again, I'll repay it double onto Ling Fan. I withdrew my gaze. I bowed deeply to Professor Wen, thanking him for taking care of me for the past 4 years, and said I would come back after resolving my own affairs. After leaving those words behind, I turned and left without hesitation. It was not until my figure disappeared from the room that Liu Li slowly came back to her senses. Just as I walked out of the school gate, Jia Yue called, "Boss, I found out. I understand why Shen Youchu tells outsiders she's married, but doesn't recognize you. On the surface, the Shen family looks extremely powerful, but internal strife has been fierce these past few years. The old master favors the eldest branch and wants to hand the Shen family over to them, as the youngest daughter, Shen Youchu, has always been suppressed. A few years ago, the old master chose several unreliable men for Shen Youchu, intending to arrange a marriage alliance. The situation caused a huge mess, until Shen Youchu said she had already registered marriage with a husband from an ordinary family. This matter is finally settled. When mentioning her husband, it's quite interesting. He has never appeared in public, nor attended any of the Shen family's banquets. In conclusion, there is only one truth, and that is, Jia Yue dragged out her voice to create suspense. But before she could say the result, I had already realized it. Have you found her itinerary and contact information? Jia Yue was momentarily speechless and said jokingly, her itinerary for the next few days. I'll send it to you in a moment. Her private phone number couldn't be found. It's fine. I'll go intercept her. For someone of Shen Youchu's status, a private phone number is the most confidential. It's normal that it couldn't be found. Jia Yue immediately became curious. She is surrounded by bodyguards. She's not easily approachable. Are you planning to use forceful means, or keep a low profile for now? A rogue smile curled on my lips. At the entrance of the Shen group, I straightened my delivery man's uniform, held a delivery box, walked in, and told the receptionist, "This is a delivery for Miss Shen. It needs to be signed for in person." After the receptionist called the secretary's office, I was allowed to go upstairs. I entered the private elevator and reached the 88th floor. Stepping out of the elevator, the view suddenly opened up. An entire department of the secretary's office. Over 100 people working here, all to serve Shen Youchu alone. I followed the secretary, who came to pick me up, and successfully reached the CEO's office. I knocked on the door, and a pleasant voice came from inside. "Come in." Just when I thought I would see Shen Youchu smoothly, a figure suddenly blocked my path. "Stop right there." Liu Qiang frowned and looked me over. "Mr. Ling, why is it you?" Liu Qiang's expression was very poor. He still remembered how I harassed Shen Youchu at the Ling house yesterday. Shen Youchu didn't hold it against me. Yet today I have the nerve to push my luck, disguising myself as a delivery man to pester her again. He beckoned 2 bodyguards over. What's going on? Without verifying identity, can any random person just come to the top floor? Kick him out immediately. My expression remained unchanged. What do you mean by this? Does the Shen group look down on us delivery men? Liu Qiang sneered. How adept you are at shifting the blame. We respect every job, but are you a delivery man? Do you have a delivery man's ID? Just as Liu Qiang finished speaking, position delivery courier. His expression froze. You didn't just register today, did you? The work ID was opened in front of him. Employee number 1 was printed on it. The registration date was marked on it. It also showed Tenyu Group. Liu Qiang was stunned. 8 years ago, you really were a delivery man. Is working while studying not allowed? My voice was lazy as I spoke to the person inside. Miss Shen, can you cooperate with my work now? A melodious voice came from the room. Let him in. I gave Liu Qiang a provocative glance. Seeing that he was about to blow up, I finally bypassed him and entered. Shen Youchu's office was in a simple yet luxurious style, making the place look devoid of any warmth. After finishing the documents at hand, Shen Youchu finally looked up. Her bright eyes showed no emotion whatsoever. Shen Youchu remained composed. I pointed to deliver. Miss Shen, please sign here. Her gaze lingered on me for a moment. Then she took the pen to sign. At that moment, I suddenly spoke surprisingly. Miss Shen, actually, you aren't married at all, are you? The woman's pen paused and touched the paper. She looked up, her cold gaze locking onto me. I knew I had guessed correctly. When registering information at the Civil Affairs Bureau, personal details must be filled in by hand, so there's no way it could be wrong. Shen Youchu claimed to be married to the public, yet she didn't know me at all. After Jai Yue's investigation, the truth could only be that Shen Youchu, to deal with family pressure to marry, created a virtual fake husband for the public. She had never been to the Civil Affairs Bureau, so she didn't know that we were married. I said seriously, Miss Shen, I know my words sound a bit absurd, but we really are married. Shen Youchu slowly sat up gracefully. A trace of amusement appeared on her face. Mr. Ling, don't waste your effort. Even if I were unmarried, I would never marry you just to spite Shen Xin. I was slightly stunned. She only knew about my past with Shen Xin and thought I sought her out for revenge. That's why she kept refusing to believe me. I hurriedly explained, I'm not looking for you because of Shen Xin. I want to divorce you. I'm not interested in your emotional entanglements. Shen Youchu interrupted me. After signing quickly, she handed the delivery slip to me. Stop harassing me, otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless. Hearing this, I got a bit irritated. Haven't you already been ruthless to me? You even said you'd make me disappear from Heichang. Shen Youchu frowned. When did I? Before she could finish, the phone suddenly rang. It was the special ringtone for Grandma. She answered immediately. The caregiver's voice came from the other end. Miss Shen, the old lady has disappeared again. Shen Youchu hurriedly walked out in anxiety. I wanted to chase after her to make things clear, but I was stopped by Liu Qiang again. Mr. Ling, I advise you to stop here. Just like that, I was asked to leave the Shen group. Just as I reached my doorstep, I suddenly looked back and saw the old lady I met last time, sneaking stealthily behind me. I looked helpless. Just as I was about to speak, the little old lady suddenly grabbed my wrist. Grandson-in-law, don't even think about abandoning me again. Inside the rented house, the old lady sat by the dining table and drank 3 glasses of water in a row. I frowned and said seriously, I really am not your grandson-in-law. You are. The little old lady stubbornly held her glass and gulped down another one. I knew I couldn't make her understand. I took out my phone and dialed that number from last time. It rang once and was answered immediately. Hello? I felt the woman's voice was somewhat familiar. Just as I was about to say something, the phone was suddenly snatched away by the old lady. At this moment, Shen Youchu was leading a group of people searching nearby. She appeared calm on the surface, but she was anxious deep down. Grandma didn't just have Alzheimer's. For an 87-year-old, her organs had long begun to deteriorate. Her life was in danger at any moment. The moment the phone rang, she answered immediately. Then she heard Grandma's energetic voice from the other end. You brat, don't come pick me up. I'm with my grandson-in-law. The phone number belonged to that boy from last time. So Grandma was with him again. Shen Youchu asked with a dark face. Where are you? I'm not telling you. Do you think I can't find you if you don't tell me? You're not allowed to look for me, and you're not allowed to send people to track me. Shen Youchu scratched her head. Covering the microphone, she whispered to the attending physician about the old lady's condition. Can we bring her back by force? The doctor shook his head and answered softly. The old lady cannot be subjected to any stimulation right now. It's best to just go along with her wishes. That boy from last time doesn't seem like a bad person. Shen Youchu looked helpless and coaxed into the phone again. Grandma, I still need to give you your medicine. No need for medicine. I have it with me. Just be at ease. Just wait for me to lure my grandson-in-law home. After the little old lady said this, she hung up the phone directly She returned the phone to me with a proud look. Grandson-in-law. It's settled. I was completely bewildered. What kind of unreliable relative is this? Just handing an elderly person over to a stranger like this. Just as I was about to call back, a WeChat notification sounded. Someone requested to add me as a friend via phone number. The message said, elderly's granddaughter. I accepted the friend request. The granddaughter quickly sent a message. Please take care of my grandmother for a while. Her health has been poor lately. She cannot be subjected to any stimulation. I sneered. Holding the phone, I coldly replied, inconvenient. This isn't a charity. Before I could finish typing, I suddenly heard a noise from the kitchen. I hurried over and found the old lady boiling eggs. I asked casually, you can't just eat eggs if you're hungry. A kind smile appeared on the old lady's wrinkled face. Grandson-in-law, applying eggs to your face can reduce the swelling. I was stunned. Perhaps I hadn't even noticed it myself, after being hit by my biological mother today. Although I seemed not to care, in reality, I was shrouded in a layer of coldness, detaching me from this world. At this moment, her words melted the coldness away, and warmth returned to my eyes. Then I looked at my phone again and saw the chat interface with the granddaughter. A bright orange notification suddenly appeared. Received a transfer of 300,000 yuan, with a note saying this is the weekly living allowance. Tell me if it's not enough. I looked at my input field and edited the message again. 23. I didn't understand why I suddenly meddled. I thought it must be because she gave me too much. Meanwhile, at the Ling residence, Ling Fan's cheek was swollen high. The fist print was clearly visible. Liu Li lowered her head. That little animal, Ling Yu. He must be jealous that you are marrying Miss Shen Xin. Once your father returns, let him teach him a harsh lesson. At this time, Li Xia walked down from upstairs with her frail body. Her voice was weak, but her tone was firm. Ling Yu is not that kind of person. You must have done something to provoke him first. Seeing this, Ling Fan, though reluctant, he changed the subject. Could you invite Dr. Yu to be a mentor at Heicheng University? Mrs. Ling immediately refused sternly. Ling Fan, one should not use favors to demand returns. Moreover, for so many years, Dr. Yu has done enough for the family company. Ling Fan wasn't surprised at all. Heicheng University is the best university here. Perhaps Dr. Yu wants to go himself. I can just help him build a bridge to the school, which would be a way to repay Dr. Yu for his years of help. Mrs. Ling thought this made sense, so she took out her phone and opened. Then I'll ask him. Ling Fan, sitting beside Mrs. Ling, said, Dr. Yu has done so much for our family. Any debts of gratitude have long been paid. Shouldn't the family host a banquet to treat him? Wouldn't it be better to ask him in person then? Dr. Yu always complies with Mrs. Ling's requests. As long as he comes, he can then propose to be his graduate student. Dr. Yu certainly wouldn't refuse. Mrs. Ling was convinced. She sent a message to Dr. Yuan. Xiao Yu, do you have time to come visit the house? After I saw this message, my heart immediately tightened. Why would Mrs. Ling suddenly ask to meet? Could it be that her health has worsened? Thinking of Mrs. Ling's coughing, I became extremely anxious. I stood up and walked out. I'm free. I'll come over now. But just as I was about to rush out, Mrs. Ling's message arrived. Not now. Are you free? You work overtime on Saturday. I want to invite you for a simple meal. Only then did I realize I was confused by my concern. Recalling the scene of being ousted from the Ling family 10 years ago, a bitter smile appeared on the corners of my lips. After all these years, it's time we met. Then I replied to the message. It should be me treating you. Saturday at 6 p.m. Be there or be square. After saying that, I sent the restaurant location. When I exited the chat with Mrs. Ling, I found that Shen Youchu had sent several messages. The content was some reminders on taking care of the old lady. Seeing this, I quietly walked into the second bedroom and filmed a short video for Shen Youchu. By the nearby street, 2 fully equipped nanny vans were parked discreetly. Shen Youchu was sitting on the sofa working on her laptop. Suddenly, a notification sounded. Shen Youchu picked it up and took a look. Then that eternally unchanging ice-cold face actually showed a hint of surprise. The family doctor immediately asked, did something happen to the old lady? Shen Youchu pursed her lips and handed him the video. He saw the old lady lying on floral bedsheets, sleeping soundly. It was only 9 p.m. Usually, if the old lady could fall asleep before 1 a.m., it would be a godsend. The family doctor was completely stunned. The old lady treats this boy very differently. If he can keep accompanying the old lady's health will surely improve. Shen Youchu's eyes deepened, as if she were thinking about something. The next morning, I received a message from Shen Youchu. Back and forth, it always gave Shen Youchu a feeling of talking to an old friend. She suddenly asked if she could visit Grandma tonight. Of course, welcome anytime. Then I sent her a specific address. At this moment, I was waiting outside, bored. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded. I turned my head and met a familiar face. It was Shen Zin. The face that was always gentle and considerate in my memory was now looking at me gloomily. During college, I was always alone, while Shen Zin was passionate and cheerful, always sticking by my side, counting as my only friend. Only now, our identities were a bit awkward. I hesitated for a moment and spoke. Is something the matter? Shen Zin sneered. Ling Fan told me about your background. Why did you keep it a secret? While I, like a fool, chased someone like you for 4 years. Is it fun? My chest felt as if it were being gripped tightly by a large hand. I didn't expect 4 years of classmate friendship to be shattered so easily. I took a step back to distance myself from her, but Shen Zin stepped forward to question me. Don't you have anything to explain to me? I sneered and said no. After speaking, I turned to leave, since she looked down on my origin. Then this friendship is not worth keeping. My resolute manner made Shen Zin inexplicably irritated, seeing me getting further and further away. Without thinking, she grabbed my wrist. You can't leave. I turned back to look at her. What else is there? Shen Zin's face tightened. Anger surged in her heart. Clearly, I was the one who let go first. Why does it feel like I'm the one being abandoned? Then I heard her mocking voice again. You're still working part-time here, which means you haven't found a formal job yet, right? Why don't you become my personal assistant? I broke free from her grip and coldly refused. I'm afraid I'm not qualified, but Shen Zin continued to insist. You don't have to do anything. I have an apartment near the company. You just need to live there and attend to my daily needs. I'll give you 50,000 a month. Is that enough? My gaze instantly turned cold. You want me to be your mistress? Shen Zin sneered. You're definitely qualified for this. After all, your mother was a mistress, having been exposed to it since childhood. It's like a family tradition. I believe you must be professional. Hearing this, I threw her to the ground, looking at her coldly. Enough. But after she stood up, she laughed instead of being angry. I'll give you time to think about it. If you change your mind, come find me anytime. After leaving these words, Shen Zin departed. I gave a self-deprecating smile. In the evening, Shen Youchu finished work on time and came to the old residential area in the suburbs. She was carrying fruit in her hand, knocked on the door according to the address on, looking very healthy. Only then did she look around, although it was only a small 2-bedroom of 60 square meters. But it was very neat and cozy. Only the sound of running water from the shower was coming from the bathroom. Shen Youchu withdrew her gaze as if she had been electrocuted. The family doctor followed behind her, was about to enter the door, but was stopped by her. Give me the equipment. You wait in the car. Shen Youchu quickly and simply measured the elderly woman's blood pressure, blood sugar, heart rate, etc. Perhaps the elderly woman slept well last night. All the values were actually very healthy. The old lady said proudly, my grandson-in-law takes such great care of me. Seeing is believing. Shen Youchu finally felt relieved. Her gaze glanced toward the bathroom again. Finally packed the equipment. Since you are fine, then I will leave first. The old lady was stunned. Aren't you staying for dinner? My grandson-in-law's cooking is delicious. It's not very convenient. Shen Youchu put down the examination equipment. Leave this here. The old lady's eyes rolled. Take it away. If left here, my grandson-in-law won't know how to use it. And I don't want Dr. Xiaofeng to come here. I want you to come and check on me every day. Shen Youchu was about to say something. The sound of water in the bathroom suddenly stopped. She immediately stood up, hurriedly left the room carrying the medical kit. Then I'll be going now. I'll come again tomorrow. The moment the door closed, I happened to walk out of the bathroom dressed. Where is your granddaughter? She's gone. It's inconvenient to say. She's just too prim and proper, and she likes to keep a cold face. Grandson-in-law, is that why you don't like her? She can change everything. I am not your grandson-in-law. You are. I felt helpless. After spending these 2 days together, I found the old lady to be very kind. She agreed with me on everything, except she was very stubborn about this one thing. A few days later, the old lady suddenly said she wanted to go home to get some clothes. So I sent a message to the granddaughter, asking for the address. But I was stunned when I opened the location. Manor number 1. Isn't this the Shen family's place? It's the most famous wealthy district in Heicheng. Typing, I thought the old lady's home was one of those small villas. I didn't dare think it was the Shen family. But after arriving at the destination, I looked up at the antique style grand black gate with exquisite carvings and hesitated. Grandma, is this your home? The old lady's eyes were sleepy. Her gaze was a bit vacant. Grandson-in-law, I can't remember. Helplessly, I had to message the granddaughter. The granddaughter replied immediately. Please wait there for a moment. I'll be there soon. Not long after, a luxury car stopped in front of us. Ling Fan and Liu Li got out from the back seat. and rushed up to us. Liu Li's brows were tightly furrowed. Ling Yu, it really is you. What are you doing here? Today, in the capacity of a nanny, she accompanied Ling Fan to visit the Shen family. From afar, she saw someone lingering in front of the Shen gate. She didn't expect it to actually be me. Ling Fan looked at the closed gates of the Shen family. Ling Yu, are you harassing Miss Shen Youchu again? As soon as these words were spoken, Liu Li shouted angrily, You animal, look at what day it is today. Get lost right now. If you ruin Ling Fan's engagement, I'll never let you off. Although I was truly sick of them. But the old lady was here. I didn't want to clash with them, so I suppressed my impatience and explained, I'm taking an elderly person home, and took the wrong turn. Ling Fan instinctively blurted out, Isn't this your wife's grandmother? How could she possibly live in this neighborhood? I retorted, Why wouldn't it be possible? Beside him, Liu Li cursed me harshly. Stop pretending. How could your poor wife's grandmother live here? She looked directly at the old lady. You old thing. Then tell me, which villa do you live in? I frowned upon hearing this, just as I was about to say something. The old lady suddenly stood up. I remember now. I live right here. Grandson-in-law, come home with me. She grabbed my hand and walked toward the Shen family gate. There were still 100 meters to the gate. But after only 2 steps, Ling Fan spoke up. Ling Yu, you've made so many excuses, but you still want to use the old lady as a shield to enter the Shen family. I paused my steps and looked sharply at the Shen family estate ahead. Although when I saw this magnificent gate, I had a faint suspicion in my heart, but I could never connect the one on WeChat. That polite granddaughter with the cold and ruthless Shen Youchu. Perhaps the old lady remembered wrong. Just as I was planning to confirm again, Liu Li suddenly rushed over and tried to grab the old lady. You're not allowed to go and cause trouble at the Shen families. I was startled. I shielded the old lady. I grabbed Liu Li and pushed her away with force. What are you doing? Liu Li was pushed back repeatedly. Once she regained her balance, she immediately cursed at him as an ungrateful wolf. You actually hit your own mother for such an old thing. I'm calling the police. I ignored her and hurriedly looked at the old lady. The old lady had never been insulted like this. Sure enough, she was shaking all over with rage. Her hand was pressed against her chest. Her body began to tremble uncontrollably. I hurriedly supported her, immediately taking the emergency heart pills from her pocket. However, after opening the cap, I found that it was empty. My pupils contracted. The elderly woman's health was very poor, unless absolutely necessary. CPR is not suitable. Medication is best. I suddenly looked toward the gate. The Shen family must have medicine, even if the old lady isn't a member of the Shen family. She is their neighbor. They won't just stand by and watch her die. I picked up the old lady, but Ling Fan grabbed my arm forcefully. Ling Yu, don't be like this. The Shen family won't let you in. He looked at the old lady. A flicker of gloom crossed his eyes. At this moment, I felt like I was going crazy with rage. My eyes surged with overwhelming fury. I raised my foot and kicked him to the ground. But the next moment, my leg was tightly hugged by someone. Liu Li was sitting on the ground, hugging me with all her might, regardless of her image. I was shaking all over with anger, because I was concerned for the old lady in my arms. I actually couldn't break free. Just then, a black Bentley slowly drove up. Shen Youchu got out and asked sternly, What are you doing? Ling Fan hurriedly spoke. Miss Shen, it's Ling Yu. He insisted on taking a dying old lady to the Shen house to scam them. It's all my fault for not stopping him. Hearing this, after Shen Youchu saw that I was holding her grandmother, her pupils suddenly contracted. She strode toward us. Grandmother was the person she was closest to. In recent years, the elderly woman's health had been deteriorating. Shen Youchu was clearly panicked to the extreme. I didn't have time to explain. The old lady is having a heart attack. The medicine she carries has just run out. With timely medication, she will be fine. Shen Youchu pursed her lips, took the grandmother, and rushed into the Shen house without looking back. I couldn't follow her in, because my leg was still being held by Liu Li. Ling Fan was still suspicious of the old lady's identity. But Liu Li let me go. Dusting herself off, she sneered. Isn't it just because of this that you rushed to the Shen house with that old hag? At this time, the Shen family gate opened. Shen Zin walked out. Ling Fan had a flattering look on his face. Sister Shen Zin, you could have just waited for me in the parking lot. Why did you come all the way to the gate? Shen Zin forced a bit of tenderness. I was afraid you wouldn't find the way on your first visit. She then looked at me. The previous tenderness instantly turned into malice. Ling Yu, did you come to find me because you've come to your senses? I kept a stern face and didn't speak. If you've come to your senses, just call me. Who allowed you to come to the Shen house? Is the Shen house gate a place an illegitimate son like you can enter? Shen Zin sneered. But if you really want to go in and take a look, you can. Sister, you've misunderstood. Ling Fan interrupted. Ling Yu was waiting for his wife's grandmother. The elderly woman just had a sudden heart attack and was carried in by Miss Shen Youchu for emergency treatment. Shen Zin's eyes suddenly reddened. She said through gritted teeth, What wife? Ling Yu, Who is that woman? I looked at her mockingly. Shen Zin, who my wife is, has nothing to do with you. How is it nothing to do with me? I want to see, without my consent, who dares to marry you. Ling Fan hurriedly answered. I heard from Ling Yu's mother that she's some hooligan girl. Shen Zin clenched her fists. You degrade yourself like this. Not bad. An illegitimate son and a hooligan are truly a perfect match. Ling Fan continued to add fuel to the fire. Ling Yu is probably very unwilling, right? That's why he's always pestering Miss Shen Youchu. I sneered coldly. Ling Fan, you call yourself the eldest young master of the Ling family. Why is your mind filled with nothing but thugs and harlots? Is there nothing else? Hearing this, Ling Fan's face stiffened and he clenched his fists. I know you're doing this to get revenge on me and sister Shen Zin, but Miss Shen Youchu has been married for a long time. You shouldn't try to destroy someone else's marriage. Shen Zin was furious hearing this. She has been waiting for my call these past 2 days, thinking that if I softened and begged for mercy, she might let me off. It turns out I had already found someone else. Thinking of this, she suddenly became enraged. I knew it. How could your wife's grandmother fall ill at my doorstep? It turns out you came looking for my aunt. Ling Yu, how can you be so shameless? Fuming with rage, she pointed at me and told the guard. Did you see clearly? Remember this face. Do not let him step a single foot into the Shen family home again. Ling Fan lowered his head to hide a smug smile. The gates of the Shen family. Shen Zin could still make some decisions. However, in the next moment, the inner butler of the Shen family walked out from the door. His gaze swept across everyone, and then came before me. Mr. Ling Yu, Miss Shen Youchu invites you inside. Ling Fan was stunned. Shen Zin was speechless. I looked up at the guard with a half-smile. So, can I go in now? The guard glanced cautiously at Shen Zin and opened the door without hesitation. Who holds the power in the Shen family? He understood perfectly. After entering the house, Shen Zin and her group followed behind. Liu Li glared at me. Miss Shen Youchu probably asked you to pick up your grandmother. Once you've picked her up, be sensible and leave quickly. Don't dare to dirty the Shen family's carpet. With these words, the group entered the living room together and immediately saw old Mrs. Shen sitting in the main seat of the sofa. The old lady glared at them. You wicked woman, who are you calling a beast? The old lady was now wearing luxurious clothes, but her complexion was still not very good. Shen Youchu sat coldly to her left. Liu Li stood frozen in place. Ling Fan's legs went weak, and he almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, Shen Zin supported him. What's wrong with you? Ling Fan's hands were shaking. He suddenly gave a bitter smile. Ling Yu, why did you lie to us, saying old Mrs. Shen was your wife's grandmother, causing us to be disrespectful to the old madam? I instantly felt several suspicious gazes in the room turned toward me. Liu Li also realized, knowing full well that the old madam has dementia. You actually dared to deceive her. What do you take the Shen family for? Kneel down and apologize immediately. My gaze darkened. Do they want to push all the blame onto me? Ling Fan taking the opportunity to clear his name. What a clever trick. Smash. A teacup was thrown by the old lady, hitting Liu Li directly. The scalding tea inside splashed all over her, but Liu Li didn't dare to scream. You scoundrel, the old madam roared. He is my grandson-in-law. Liu Li, enduring the pain of the burn, said, Old madam, you have been deceived by him. I am certain his wife is just a thug. No need to argue. Why not just ask the person involved? Beside them, Shen Zin's mother spoke. Youchu, is he really your husband? I looked silently at Shen Youchu, and then I heard the expected answer. Truly an ungrateful person, a woman who betrays kindness. A flash of anger crossed my eyes. Ling Fan showed a look of joy and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Liu Li curled her lip and said, I told you, all of this was Ling Yu's doing. I sneered. Just as I was about to speak, I heard the woman's voice sound again. It was Grandma who mistook him, so I asked Mr. Ling Yu for help, to take care of Grandma for a while. Everyone fell silent. No one expected the situation to develop this way. After a while, Ling Fan lowered his head. So that's how it is. Ling Yu, why didn't you tell us the truth? If you had said so earlier, this misunderstanding wouldn't have happened. Mr. Ling Fan, Shen Youchu leaned back on the sofa. Casual posture, but strong presence when speaking. Hiding behind others to shirk responsibility. Is this how the Ling family teaches its juniors? Old Madame Shen was enlightened by these words, immediately said angrily, Do you think I'm senile? That I can't see through your little tricks, committing mistakes without repentance, and still trying to shift the blame? You two are truly shameless. Old Madame Shen looked directly at Shen Zin. Cancel the engagement. I do not recognize this great-grandson-in-law. Ling Fan shuddered. The marriage he worked so hard for so long to get cannot just vanish like this. Then he looked at Shen Zin, but saw the woman looking dazed, her gaze fixed on me, clearly not yet recovered from the shock of my being married. Ling Fan clenched his fists, lowered his head, and walked in front of Shen Zin. Sister Shen Zin, it's my fault. Don't worry. Even if the marriage is cancelled, I will still introduce you to the person I promised. Shen Zin came back to her senses. Ling Fan still wanted to introduce her to Dr. Yu, currently in Huixia's new energy projects. Dr. Yu is one of the top figures. She hurriedly said to old Madame Shen, great-grandmother. Ling Fan didn't know, so he shouldn't be blamed. Please forgive him. Besides, the two families have already exchanged betrothal gifts. It would be truly inappropriate to cancel the engagement. Old Madame Shen gave her a deep look. Up to you. Her great-granddaughter's affairs are for her parents to decide. She didn't want to interfere too much, but Shen Zin's mother smiled and said, Grandmothers, did you forget to give the meeting gift? Hearing this, old Madame Shen immediately lowered her eyelids. I will have someone transfer 180,000 to Shen Zin. Shen Zin's mother's expression froze. But didn't you say before you'd give the young couple 2% shares? Fearing they'd be tight on funds after the wedding. If asked who is the wealthiest in the Shen family, it must be old Madame Shen. She came from a wealthy family in Kyoto. Her own dowry was generous, and she controls 20% of the Shen family's shares. Shen Zin's mother had long wanted to use the marriage to get a huge sum from her. It was originally agreed upon, but the old Madame changed her mind at the last minute. Old Madame Shen looked at her with a half-smile. I am dissatisfied with this great-grandson-in-law, so I won't give it. Ling Fan's face turned pale, feeling severely humiliated. There are many servants in the Shen family. This will definitely spread. By then, all of Heicheng will know that he was rejected by the old Madame. Wealthy families value face the most. The old Madame today truly took his face and trampled it ruthlessly under her feet, but the little old lady didn't care about any of that. After leaving those words, she directly pulled me and took Shen Youchu to the courtyard where she lived. Then she found an excuse to leave, asking Shen Youchu to help her entertain the grandson-in-law well, and hurriedly took the person away. In the blink of an eye, only Shen Youchu and I were left in the courtyard. In the night, Shen Youchu and I stood side by side. Just as I was hesitating how to speak, Shen Youchu suddenly looked at me with hidden disdain, lacking iron in the 5 elements, not wanting to be outdone. I also suddenly looked at her seriously. Silly Erniu. Shen Youchu's face turned livid. He actually coaxed Grandma into saying even this. As expected, his intentions are impure. Grandma clinging to him might be an accident. There are no signs of calculation in this, but this man's kindness in taking in Grandma might be because Grandma accidentally revealed her identity. I retorted to her, don't forget the main business. I remember you said in your text you'd do me a favor. Then can you go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me to check the marital status? Shen Youchu's expression was gloomy. She said sharply and impatiently, fine, then let's go. If it's not true, I hope you stop using Grandma to pester me. The little old lady's head popped out from the wind. You brat, are you bullying your grandson-in-law? Hearing this, Shen Youchu's expression immediately froze. No, dinner was quite simple. 4 dishes and 1 soup, just right for 3 people. But the little old lady had no appetite. After a few bites, she put down her chopsticks. Grandson-in-law, I'm tired. Let's go home. Stop making a fuss. Better rest at home tonight. This small courtyard is like a miniature nursing home, fully equipped with various medical machines. But the old lady gripped my hand nervously. Then can you stay and keep me company? I frowned and glanced at Shen Youchu. Actually, I was also worried about the old lady. But this wretched woman dislikes me so much, suspecting that I am using the old lady to get close to her. She definitely won't agree. Shen Youchu was silent for a moment. You can. Then she gave me a meaningful glance. Clearly, she was doing it all for Grandma, telling me not to harbor any unrealistic hopes. After dinner, I escorted the old lady back to her room to rest. The old lady must have been truly exhausted today, having suffered another bout of illness. She fell into a deep sleep as soon as she lay down. She slept very unrestfully. Helpless, I could only sit by the bed to accompany her. Outside the window, Shen Youchu had a serious expression. What is happening with Grandma? The family doctor had studied psychology. She sighed. Although I don't know why the old lady is so set on this boy, but I can more or less guess why the old lady is so uneasy, fearing that her grandson-in-law might leave. Then the family doctor glanced at Shen Youchu again. The old lady probably feels she won't survive this year. She fears that once she's gone, you'll have nothing to tie you down. The grandson-in-law is the only person she can leave to accompany you. Shen Youchu was slightly stunned. In her dark eyes, uncontrollable emotions were churning. After a long time, they returned to calm. She stood in the moonlight, as if she wanted to blend completely into the darkness behind her. After an unknown amount of time, the woman suddenly turned around and strode toward the main house. Ling Fan found this meal very difficult to swallow, because he had just lost 2% of the shares. Shen Zin's mother, Liu Mijin, was very dissatisfied. Her words to him were sharp and sarcastic. Isn't Ling Yu the illegitimate son of your family? How can he please the old lady? While you can't, Ling Fan could only bow his head and apologize. Auntie, I'm not as sweet-tongued as Ling Yu at coaxing people. Liu Mijin sneered. I don't care what method you use. You must get those 2% shares back for me. Otherwise, don't even think about entering the Shen family home. Ling Fan suffered in silence. After finally finishing the meal, he could finally ask to leave. But before he could leave, Shen Youchu returned. The moment she entered, she brought a powerful sense of pressure. After scanning the leftovers on the dining table, her expression became even worse. Grandma didn't eat anything tonight, yet they are here enjoying themselves. Liu Mijin glimpsed her expression and didn't dare to speak. It was Shen Zin's father, Shen Youchu, who frowned and asked, "Youchu, why have you come?" Shen Youchu ignored this nominal elder brother. Her gaze turned to Ling Fan. Since the engagement hasn't been broken, then he is considered a member of the Shen family now. Right, since he is a member of the Shen family, he must follow the Shen family rules. He defied his elders today. He is punished to kneel in the ancestral hall for one night. Without further discussion, she signaled to those behind her. 2 bodyguards walked up to Ling Fan. "Master Ling, please." Ling Fan looked at Shen Zin for help, but saw that she didn't dare to resist the power of the one in charge. He took a deep breath and could only follow the bodyguards. Before leaving the door, he heard Shen Zin ask, "Aunt, what about that Ling Yu? Has he left?" Then came Shen Youchu's warning reply. "He is my guest. He is staying at the Shen house tonight." Ling Fan and the bodyguards arrived at the ancestral hall. The young lady said, "You two aren't married yet, so you cannot enter the Shen family ancestral hall. Just kneel outside. The outside is a blue brick floor." Ling Fan wanted to say something more, but the 2 bodyguards kept their hands behind their backs, looking coldly at Master Shen. The night was very cold. Ling Fan shivered from the cold. The piercing cold entered the bone marrow through his knees. He wanted to slack off, but those 2 bodyguards stared at him like door gods. They didn't speak, but it made one shudder. When I woke up the next day, I was already lying in bed, with a small pink blanket draped over me. It didn't match the decor style of the old lady's room. I didn't think much of it. After getting up and washing up, I had breakfast with the old lady and Shen Youchu. There was a plate of fried sugar cakes on the table. The old lady immediately took one. Shen Youchu frowned. Grandma has high blood sugar. She shouldn't eat things high in oil and sugar. While she was thinking about how to stop her, she heard me say indifferently, "Grandma, this sugar cake isn't suitable for you." Then that gluttonous and stubborn old lady put the sugar cake into my bowl. The old lady smiled flatteringly. "Grandson-in-law, I'm giving this to you." Shen Youchu looked at me scrutinizingly, not understanding why Grandma listened to me so much. I unceremoniously started eating the sugar cake. Then I looked at Shen Youchu. "Right, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau later. You need to bring your ID and household register." The old lady asked curiously, "What are you going to the Civil Affairs Bureau for?" "The marriage certificate is lost." But unexpectedly, as soon as these words were spoken, the old lady spoke up. "It's not lost." She hurried into the bedroom and quickly brought out 2 red marriage certificates, handing them to me and Shen Youchu. I stared dumbfounded at the marriage certificate in my hand. Suddenly I realized the old lady called me grandson-in-law the first time we met. She had known all along that we were married. I felt I had found a clue. I immediately asked Grandma, "Why is this marriage certificate with you?" The old lady was stunned. Her gaze became a bit vacant. "I can't remember clearly." "Then how did Miss Shen and I get married?" The old lady continued to shake her head. "I don't remember. I got a bit anxious." "Grandma, please think about it carefully again." "Enough." Shen Youchu let out a low scoff. She stepped forward to block the way between me and the old lady, looking at me with cold eyes. "Mr. Ling, this certificate is real." Next, are you going to say we don't need to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau? So this was your purpose all along, first using the excuse of the Civil Affairs Bureau as an overt way to pester, to pave the way and lure Grandma into bringing out this fake document, to make her believe it's true. I felt a faint killing intent in the woman's tone, finding it inexplicable. "It's fine if we don't go today. After all, the matter of divorce isn't something that can be solved by just visiting the Civil Affairs Bureau. For 2 years, we have been husband and wife in the eyes of the law. It involves many property division issues. A divorce agreement needs to be signed first." After Shen Youchu finished, she stared at me closely, only to see me slightly stunned, then helplessly saying, "As you wish." Is the acting too good? Or is this marriage certificate actually real? Shen Youchu suddenly became a bit uncertain. She simply took the marriage certificate and left first. "I'll wait for you in the parking lot." I gave the old lady a reassuring smile. Just as we arrived at the parking lot, we saw Liu Li supporting a pale-faced Ling Fan. Seeing me come out, she rushed over righteously, insisting that I help your brother. "Ling Yu, you are an illegitimate child, but the Ling family didn't mind your origin and raised you. Even if you don't consider the merit, consider the hard work. You should repay the Ling family." These brainwashing words, I've heard them for 20 years. Now I only find them laughable. Seeing my silence, Liu Li took the opportunity to say, "Now that you've grown up, You finally have a chance to repay the Ling family. Ling Yu, doesn't old Madam Shen listen to you quite well? Go and make her return that 2% of shares to your brother. After hearing this, I suddenly smiled. I am just a lowly illegitimate child. How could old Madam Shen possibly listen to me? Liu Li was stunned, wanting to say something more, but I had already strode past her and went straight into Shen Youchu's car. The car soon arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. As soon as it stopped, Liu Qiang rushed up urgently. Boss, the driver said you drove off yourself. I was so scared that I rushed here following the GPS. Did something happen? Shen Youchu was extremely concise. Why did you come here? Could it be that she's really become paranoid from being pestered by Ling Yu? Please rest assured, I told you, he will never see you again. Otherwise, I'll livestream myself eating shit. I sat in the back seat, my voice lazy. Which one is your livestream room? Liu Qiang's body froze. And so, the three of us entered the service hall. Liu Qiang asked first, hello, I'd like to ask, can the certificate be issued if the person isn't present? That is definitely not possible. The staff member replied. Liu Qiang looked at me mockingly. Did you hear that? You've even prepared a fake certificate. I'm calling the police right now to report you for forging documents and harassment. But Shen Youchu handed over the certificate. Please take a look whether this marriage certificate is authentic. After the staff member checked, gave the answer, this certificate is real. How is that possible? Did you register the information incorrectly? Liu Qiang exclaimed. Nonsense. Marriage is a serious matter. Both parties must have their identities carefully verified and sign a guarantee letter. I quickly spoke up. Can we see our guarantee letter? Shen Youchu also nodded. Please get the guarantee letter. The staff member stood up helplessly. You two really are in sync. I'll go find it for you. 2 sets of registration documents were placed before us. I glanced at the handwriting. It was indeed my own. Liu Qiang leaned in and shouted, Boss, this really is your handwriting. Shen Youchu fell silent. I looked at the staff member. Hello, could we see the footage from the day we registered? Sorry, we only keep recordings for half a year. The staff member repeatedly assured. The process was absolutely error-free. Both people must be present to obtain the certificate. The three of us walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Liu Qiang was somewhat bewildered. Boss, what do we do now? Shen Youchu's eyes darkened. I raised an eyebrow. Divorce. The two of us spoke in unison again. Liu Qiang was stunned and asked again. Then divorce now. Do we need to discuss the divorce terms? I'll have my lawyer contact you. Talk to my lawyer. Shen Youchu and I spoke in unison for the 3rd time. I chuckled and said straightforwardly, otherwise, let's first look at the agreements drafted by our respective lawyers. If there are any issues, then let the lawyers talk. Liu Qiang sneered. Someone like you can even afford a lawyer. But Shen Youchu nodded in agreement. I ignored Liu Qiang, took out my phone and said, Miss Shen, add me on WeChat for easier contact later. Shen Youchu opened the QR code meaningfully. I scanned it and the chat box popped up with a nickname. It was clearly Silly Granddaughter. Her face instantly darkened. I was also embarrassed, having forgotten that we had already added each other on WeChat. Facing her sour expression, I coughed. The nickname was chosen randomly at the time. I casually changed the nickname to Silly Second Girl. I left a message saying see you later, then hailed a car and left. In the car, I called Jai Yue. Find the best divorce lawyer. He must not take a single penny from me. Boss, what on earth happened with your marriage? It can't be that you both have amnesia, right? I sighed. Someone must know what happened. Is it old Mrs. Shen? I frowned. The clinical drug for treating Alzheimer's needs to speed up progress, otherwise it will be too late. Returning home, the little old lady was actually waiting at the door with a suitcase. Grandson-in-law, you're back. I brought a lot of clothes. I paused slightly and burst into laughter. That day, the most famous law firm in Haicheng received 2 anonymous commissions. Female party signed. The requirements of both parties were surprisingly identical. Female party signed. The assistant lawyer complained. Never seen such a heartless couple. But the lawyer chuckled. 1 contract, double the money. Send it to the clients. Then in her office, Shen Youchu received my divorce agreement. She had just opened it when Liu Qiang pushed the door open. Boss, the investigation results are in. Ling Yu was registering his marriage a few days ago when he discovered you were married for the few years after she left the Ling family. Much of the information is unavailable. Very strained. Shen Youchu looked thoughtful. So you think this is connected to him? The purpose is still unknown. Additionally, the researcher is elusive. We haven't been able to contact them yet. Shen Youchu didn't speak. She doesn't know that the clinical drug for Alzheimer's is the one I am developing. In the evening, Shen Youchu asked me downstairs and handed me an agreement. I have no objections. Sign it. She thought I would refuse, but I signed it without hesitation. Divorce tomorrow. So urgent. Extremely urgent. I complained inwardly. The company is still waiting to go public. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning. Just then, old Mrs. Shen actually came downstairs. Her face was pale. Her voice trembled. You're getting a divorce. As soon as she finished speaking, she closed her eyes and collapsed to the ground. Outside the hospital ward, the doctor instructed seriously. The old lady must not be subjected to any more stimulation. You must not make her angry again. Shen Youchu sat on the bench, her hands trembling uncontrollably. After the old lady woke up, she looked at me, her voice hoarse. Grandson-in-law, I dreamed you and that brat were divorcing. That's not true, is it? I didn't speak, but Shen Youchu beside me spoke. It's not true. Then don't divorce. Give me the household register and marriage certificate. Shen Youchu complied immediately. The little old lady looked at me again. Grandson-in-law, the brat is telling the truth, right? Thinking of the doctor's instructions, I remained silent for a moment. It's true. At night, I sat on the sofa processing English research materials. A WeChat message from silly second girl popped up. Wait until grandma's condition stabilizes. Then go get the divorce. I replied, okay. Anyway, the agreement is signed. We are independent. Shen Youchu sent another message. Do you have any other requests? Once grandma is better, just divorce as soon as possible. The little old lady looked at me, then looked at her, and suddenly said, Brat, I want to arrange a job for my grandson-in-law in the Shen group. Shen Youchu paused slightly and agreed. The little old lady was excited. Tomorrow, you'll go to work with the brat. I agreed as well. The Shen group's database is extensive, which is convenient for me to find data. Then Shen Youchu left with Liu Qiang. In the corridor, Liu Qiang complained, Boss, he definitely wants to sneak into the company. Why did you agree? If we don't keep him close, how will he reveal his true colors? Shen Youchu said coldly. In the ward, the old lady beckoned to me. Grandson-in-law, I'll tell you a secret. If the brat bullies you, just fight back. Don't be fooled by her arrogant and intimidating look. Actually, she's afraid of cats. I was stunned. A young lady I knew as a child in my memories also seemed to be afraid of cats. Grandson-in-law, do you like cats or dogs? I suddenly realized that I used to like cats too, but the young lady didn't like them, so I stopped liking them. Soon I understood why the little old lady asked this question. The next day, top floor of the Shen group, a cute little Shiba Inu wagging its tail. Circling around me, Liu Qiang was speechless. The job the old madam arranged for Mr. Ling. Why was it taking care of this little puppy? And Shen Youchu didn't quite understand either. That my job was actually petting a dog. This was simply too absurd. She commanded, take them to the first group of the new energy R&D department for onboarding. This was something she had arranged long ago. The new energy R&D department is crucial to the group's future. Putting me there, she wanted to see what flaws I would reveal. I didn't mind. Picking up the puppy, I followed behind Liu Qiang. Does it have a name? The old madam asked you to come pick it up. I glanced at Shen Youchu, who had a sour expression. Then let's call it Little Cat. The new energy R&D department is on the 38th floor. In the elevator, Liu Qiang said, Young Master Ling, the employees in our Shen Group's R&D department are mostly PhD students, and at the very least, graduates from prestigious universities. You are the first undergraduate. To be here, learn well from your seniors. It will be of great benefit to your future. This was specially arranged for you by the boss. Of course, you don't need to be overly grateful. This is the boss's reward for you pleasing the old madam. My lip twitched. Actually, it really wasn't necessary. By the way, your relationship with the boss doesn't want it to be public, to avoid any turmoil in case of a future divorce. I looked at him. Coincidentally, I had the same concern. Liu Qiang was stunned. This man actually looked down on the boss. The first day of office work was very relaxed. No one assigned me any work. I was happy to be at ease, playing with the puppy in the office. After it fell asleep, I got up and closed the door, heading straight for the archive on the 60th floor. Only by creating a special drug for Alzheimer's, and once the old lady recovers and remembers the past, can I understand what this mysterious marriage is all about. The books here cover top knowledge from all walks of life, some of which are scientific research materials, inaccessible to the outside. I felt a faint sense of excitement. On the top floor, Shen Youchu received a text from old Madam Shen. Grandma's WeChat name had been changed to Grandma who must not be stimulated. You brat, you must have lunch with your grandson-in-law. Remember to send me a photo of you two dining intimately. Shen Youchu sighed helplessly. She pressed the call button. Liu Qiang, prepare 2 lunches and bring them up. She sent me a message, but I didn't reply for a long time. Arriving at the 60th floor, I searched behind rows of bookshelves. I soon saw Shen Zin staring at me. I was so absorbed in searching for books that I suddenly bumped into someone while stepping back. Sorry, I turned my head and saw Shen Zin staring at me with a complex expression. Ling Yu, you went to such lengths to please great-grandmother. It couldn't be just to get close to my aunt, could it? My expression instantly turned cold. None of your business. My aunt has never been interested in men for all these years. Don't think you can seduce her just because of your face. She isn't that shallow. And isn't it true now that she just gave you an insignificant job to get rid of you? I sneered. You mean when you chased me for so long back then? It was because you were the shallow one. Shen Zin's eyes turned red. I know you hate that I proposed to Ling Fan, but I had no choice. Arranged marriages in wealthy families require considering many things. My mother even agreed for me to be with an ordinary person. But your status, no matter what, I could never marry an illegitimate child. Otherwise, how could I face the Shen family? I would become the laughingstock of Heicheng. I looked away. Thank you for the favor of not marrying me, just as I was about to leave. Shen Zin blocked the way. I can arrange for you to work in my group. I'll find someone capable to mentor you. I know how ambitious you are. You're so smart. You'll definitely learn very quickly. Hearing this, I interrupted her rambling. What's the condition? Divorce her and follow me. Shen Zin would not allow another woman to share him. Just thinking about it makes me go crazy. I responded coldly. You're not worthy. Why do you love that thug of a wife so much? Do you believe that if I give her a sum of money or find someone to threaten her, she will abandon you? How could she possibly compare to me? Hearing this, I looked at Shen Zin coldly. I didn't want to hurt your self-esteem, but since you insist on digging deeper, then I'll tell you, my wife is more beautiful than you, and her figure is better than yours. Leaving these words behind, I turned around to leave, only to see Shen Youchu at the corner. I fell silent. She fell silent too. At this moment, Shen Zin's gaze behind me turned gloomy. She picked up her phone and called Ling Fan. Aren't you having dinner with Dr. Yu tomorrow afternoon? Take me along. Meanwhile, Shen Youchu used lunch as an excuse and took me to the top floor. Entering Shen Youchu's office, she pointed to the dining table nearby. You eat first. I'm feeling a bit guilty. Looking at her, she probably didn't hear what I said. Just as I was thinking this, I heard the sound of a phone taking a photo. Shen Youchu calmly took the photo and sent it to Grandma. Then she walked over. I knew the purpose of the photo, so I didn't ask. I just looked at the table and tried to make small talk. Miss Shen's lunch is very lavish. That woman sat down opposite me, elegantly picking up her chopsticks. After all, proper nutrition is the only way to maintain a good figure. I was stunned. My face flushed. My gaze swept over her snowy white skin. I awkwardly packed a portion of the food. Miss Shen, I suddenly remembered. I haven't fed the kitten yet. I'll be leaving first. Thank you for the lunch. I was in high spirits, carrying the lunchbox away. After work, Shen Youchu called Grandma. Where are you? At the hospital. My chest suddenly started hurting again this afternoon. I want to stay for a few more days. You brat. Are you coming to keep me company tonight? It's fine if you don't. Just let me stay in the hospital all alone and pitiful. I'm coming right now. That's more like it. By the way, I've already arranged it with my grandson-in-law. He's coming to accompany me too. You and your grandson-in-law come together. Shen Youchu pressed her temples. She understood Grandma's little scheme. She sent me a message. I'll pick you up after work to go to the hospital. I replied quickly, no need. I've already taken a taxi and am on my way. Although she wanted to keep her distance, but seeing me avoid her so much, Shen Youchu's inner displeasure inexplicably grew. I entered the inpatient department holding the puppy. Not far away, Mrs. Ling had just finished her re-examination. Ling Fan was supporting her arm. Is that Ling Yu? Why is he at the hospital? Is he sick? Mrs. Ling asked hesitantly. Ling Fan was annoyed inside. Old Mrs. Shen wouldn't let anyone visit. Yet she let Ling Yu accompany her. His eyes flickered. He must be visiting old Mrs. Shen. Ling Yu is truly filial. Nanny Nan frowned. Filial how? I've never seen him come to visit Madam. Madam, you're still speaking up for him. Young Master Ling Yu is an ingrate. He's probably forgotten you long ago. Ling Fan chimed in. I heard Miss Shen found him a job at the Shen Group. That's probably why he's repaying old Mrs. Shen. Nanny Nan sneered. Madam raised him. The debt of upbringing is greater than the heavens, yet I don't see him repaying Madam. Enough. Stop talking. Mrs. Ling interrupted. Ling Fan pretended to sigh. Mom had good intentions, but some people return a drop of water with a spring. Like Dr. Yu, Mom only sponsored him with a bit of money. But how much has he helped our family over the years? 3 years ago, the company almost went bankrupt. Dr. Yu provided a technical patent, which saved us from the crisis. Nanny Nan nodded. Comparing the two, Dr. Yu is far better than Ling Yu. I also want to know what kind of person Dr. Yu actually is. Mom, tomorrow please take me with you. Mrs. Ling smiled and patted his head. I'll take you. This happened to be seen by me, sitting on the sofa in the VIP ward. My gaze followed Mrs. Ling. Her face had an unhealthy paleness. Ling Fan was whispering something beside her. Mrs. Ling nodded helplessly. The mother and son were acting intimately. Until the car left, I reluctantly withdrew my gaze. Turning around, the little old lady was standing behind me. Grandson-in-law. Who was that person? She looked so familiar. My expression softened, just as I was about to speak. Her eyes suddenly lit up. I remember now. She is your mother. You two look so much alike. I paused slightly. In fact, except for the face shape. Our features aren't similar, only that cold aura is exactly the same. After all, since leaving the Ling family, I would subconsciously mimic her way of doing things. I've acquired some of her temperament. I looked at the little old lady. Grandma, she isn't my mother, but the little old lady was certain. She is. Grandson-in-law. How can you not recognize your mother? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Fortunately, Shen Youchu appeared at the door carrying dinner. The dinner Shen Youchu prepared was lavish. She even brought fruit for 3 people. As soon as the little old lady saw it, she immediately frowned. Grandson-in-law cannot eat mangoes. He is allergic to mangoes. My heart skipped a beat. I looked at her in shock. Grandma, how do you know? I was indeed allergic before, but I became desensitized 2 years ago. I had never mentioned this to her. The little old lady smiled. You told me before. You said that whenever you eat mangoes, your face gets covered in little red bumps. My expression became serious. When was before? The little old lady became confused again. I think you told me before the wedding. My heart was in turmoil. I was sure I didn't know her at all before the wedding. Nor had I lost my memory. I hurriedly pressed her. What else do you remember? For example, how Miss Shen and I registered our marriage. The little old lady shook her head and said she couldn't remember. I noticed Shen Youchu's scrutinizing gaze. Her face was cold. I knew she must think I have sinister motives again. I truly can't clear my name, even if I jump into the Yellow River. I picked up the Shiba and you. Grandma, you all eat first. I'm going to walk the dog. I hid at the end of the corridor, quietly looking toward the ward. Not long after, Shen Youchu followed me out. Does young Master Ling have something to say? I thought you would want me to explain something. Then does young Master Ling have anything to explain? I answered seriously about the things Grandma mentioned before the wedding. I really don't know what's going on. Something involving such privacy. The little old lady couldn't have made it up. I thought she would question it, but she only responded calmly. I was stunned. Miss Shen, believe me. Shen Youchu took a step closer, her tone icy. Young Master Ling, I don't care if you have some motive. If you can keep Grandma happy, then I guarantee I can keep you safe. I understand. She doesn't care about the truth. As long as Grandma is happy, everything she plotted against me, she can turn a blind eye to. She added imperiously, if you hurt Grandma, I will make it impossible for you to stay in Heicheng. I sneered. Hasn't Miss Shen already done that? Shen Youchu frowned and was about to speak, when Professor Wen's voice suddenly arrived. Ling Yu. Professor Wen walked over, his voice hoarse. I was just about to call you to ask if you found a job. Have the misunderstandings between you and Miss Shen been resolved? Miss Shen is really too heartless. How could she be so relentless? Canceling your recommended admission was one thing, but she even declared that you should disappear from Heicheng. Beside him, Shen Youchu was full of questions, but I glanced at her with a half-smile. Don't worry, Professor. It's already been resolved. It's a misunderstanding. Miss Shen is actually quite a good person. Not only did she arrange a job for me, but she also wants to ensure my safety. Shen Youchu's expression darkened. Professor Wen breathed a sigh of relief. Then he looked at Shen Youchu, asking instinctively, is this that hooligan wife of yours? Shen Youchu's face turned completely dark, but my smile grew wider. Something like that. Professor Wen spoke earnestly to Shen Youchu. The girl is so beautiful. She should work hard to find a proper job. At this moment, in the Ling family dining room, Ling Zhenan was worriedly asking the appetiteless Mrs. Ling. Xia, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Ling Fan interrupted. Dad, it's because we ran into Ling Yu at the hospital today, so Mom is a bit worried about him. Why worry about him? Ling Fan sighed. He must hate me now. I'm worried about what he might say in front of old Mrs. Shen, and Miss Shen might take it out on me. Ling Zhenan sneered. That's because he offended Miss Shen. What does that have to do with you? Just then, Ling Zhenan's phone rang. It was Liu Qiang, Shen Youchu's special assistant. Assistant Liu, how do you have the time to call me? Does Miss Shen have any instructions? The voice on the other end was exceptionally cold. The boss asked me to ask young Master Ling Fan. When did he say that he wanted young Master Ling Yu to disappear from Heicheng? How come the boss doesn't know about this herself? Ling Zhenan's face froze. He looked at Ling Fan in disbelief. Liu Qiang left one final sentence. The Ling family really should teach their juniors a lesson. After saying that, he hung up the phone. Beside him, Ling Fan lowered his head in silence. When I saw Ling Yu pestering Miss Shen, I was afraid it would affect my marriage with sister Shen Xin. Dad, I didn't do it on purpose. Ling Fan explained with a pale face. After all, Ling Yu is also your son. I was afraid you wouldn't have the heart to reprimand him. Foolish. Ling Zhenan changed the subject. How many times have I told you? In my heart, there is only one son, and that is you. What is Ling Yu compared to you? Can he even be compared to you? Mrs. Ling disagreed. Zhenan, Ling Yu is your son after all. Ling Zhenan immediately turned around. Xia, back then I was schemed against by Liu Li, and I mistreated you. I will not acknowledge her son. In my heart, there is only you and our son. Liu Li standing aside as a nanny. Upon hearing this, instantly clenched her fists in resentment. She looked at Ling Zhenan with eyes full of bitterness. This was the man she deeply loved, her childhood sweetheart from next door. But in this man's eyes and heart, there was only Li Xia. Years ago, after she became pregnant, she took the pregnancy test to find him, saying she could be his mistress. But he drove her away ruthlessly, saying he would not betray his wife. Liu Li really had no other choice, so she could only find Li Xia, and only stayed in the Ling family after acting desperate. For so many years, Ling Zhenan never said much to her, and he treated Ling Yu as if he were invisible. Fortunately, she swapped the two children. Liu Li lowered her head, suppressing the smile in her eyes. Ling Zhenan will never know that the one he claims to cherish as Li Xia's son, Ling Fan, whom he has loved for so many years, is actually her son. As for Ling Yu, he deserves to be ignored and suppressed. Mrs. Ling shook her head stubbornly. Zhenan, if Ling Fan was wrong, he was wrong. The family should go and apologize to Ling Yu. Ling Zhenan frowned. Apologize? My son goes to apologize to Liu Li's son. Liu Li also hurriedly said, no need, no need. It is a great kindness that the Ling family raised him. It is only right to discipline him. Mrs. Ling looked at them and sighed softly, but did not argue further. When Ling Fan escorted her back to her room, Mrs. Ling spoke again. If you have time tomorrow, I will take you to apologize to Ling Yu in person. Ling Fan's expression shifted. Don't you want to take Shen Zin to see Dr. Yu? Let's do it together tomorrow. Ling Fan's eyes immediately lit up. He took her arm. Okay, Mom, you're the only one who's good to me. After he left, Madam Ling looked at the old servant, Nan Ma. Sister Nan, my health has been poor these years. I didn't discipline Ling Fan well. It was truly a dereliction of duty. Madam, you're overthinking it. Young Master Ling Fan is filial and considerate. Small flaws can be corrected in the future. Madam Ling gave a bitter smile. Ling Yu never lied. She began to cough violently, walking toward the bed supported by Nan Ma. That secret still weighed her down, making it hard to breathe. The next day, I've been somewhat nervous since I woke up this morning. It's been 10 years since I last saw Madam Ling. I don't know if she'll be happy or angry to see me. At noon, I went home to change my clothes. The old lady asked Shen Youchu to take her home. The two left the ward. As soon as they went downstairs, they saw Liu Qiang walking over. Shen Youchu nodded to him. Liu Qiang handed me a piece of paper. Young Master Ling, you can take a look. On it was a list. Renowned professors of new energy studies in the country. I looked at Liu Qiang in confusion. These are all professors more famous than Professor Wen. You can choose one to continue your graduate studies. It's the boss's compensation for canceling your recommended admission. Young Master Ling, meeting our boss. You could say you've turned a misfortune into a blessing. My mouth twitched. No need. Then do you want to be Dr. Yu's graduate student? Liu Qiang frowned. This is a bit difficult. Dr. Yu is very sought after right now. A genius professor like that only accepts genius students. I'm afraid you won't meet his standards. Or perhaps don't be so overambitious. At worst, after you graduate with a master's, then go find Dr. Yu for your doctorate. I looked at him as if he were a fool, and spoke directly to Shen Youchu. Miss Shen, no need to see me off. I'll take a taxi back myself. Shen Youchu stared in the direction I left. Suddenly she said to Liu Qiang, then help him contact Dr. Yu. What? Liu Qiang was stunned. At the entrance of the private restaurant, Madam Ling arrived early with Ling Fan and Shen Zin. Shen Zin pushed open the private room door. What came into view was the upright back of a man who was pouring tea. Hello, Dr. Yu. I am Shen Zin from the Shen Group. Nice to meet you. I turned around with a hint of amusement on my face. Ling Yu, why are you here? I should be the one asking you that. My voice was lazy. Shenzin's face turned cold. Don't worry, I didn't come here to find you this time. Where is Dr. Yu? Where is he? I didn't speak. Madam Ling entered with Ling Fan. Seeing me, Madam Ling's eyes welled up. You are Ling Yu. I felt a stir in my heart. Madam, have you been doing well lately? I am very well. Ling Yu, and you. I heard from your father that you are married. Madam Ling held my hand and wouldn't let go. Sighing with emotion, a dark glint flashed in Ling Fan's eyes. Ling Yu, we should have invited you to dine with us, but you are working a part-time job. It probably wouldn't be convenient, right? We'll give you a bit more tip later. Consider it a subsidy for your living expenses. Say a few words less. Madam Ling scolded him and hurriedly looked at me. Ling Yu, today we have an appointment with Dr. Yu. You are also in the field of new energy, right? Get to know him. It will be beneficial for your future. Fearing I would steal the resources, he picked up the scalding teacup and walked to my side. Ling Yu, my mom told me to apologize to you yesterday. I'll use tea instead of wine. To toast you. As he finished speaking, his fingers loosened. The tea was about to spill on me. I stepped aside and bumped him. The teacup bounced back onto Ling Fan, scalding him, making him cry out loudly. Ling Yu, I know you hate me, but how could you do this? He cried out aggrievedly. I lowered my eyes, pretending to be innocent. Sorry. I didn't see, Shen Zin said angrily. Ling Yu, is this how you act as a waiter? You injured a guest. Call your manager right now. I want to file a complaint against you. Mrs. Ling protected me. That's enough. We are all family. Mom, Sister Shen Zin is angry. Let Ling Yu leave first. To avoid further conflict, Mrs. Ling looked at me apologetically. Ling Yu, come home more often when you're free. Next time there's a chance, I'll take you to visit Dr. Yu. Ling Fan hurriedly changed the subject. Mom, why hasn't Dr. Yu arrived yet? I said with a half smile. He's already here. The three people in the room looked at me simultaneously. Mrs. Ling was about to ask further, but suddenly coughed violently and fainted right on the dining table. Madam, I instinctively went to support her, but was pushed away forcefully by Ling Fan. Get lost. What did you do to my mother? Wake up. The ambulance arrived quickly. I wanted to get in the car, but was grabbed by Shen Zin. Bastard, stay away from Mrs. Ling. If you make her sick out of anger, I won't let you off. I took a taxi and followed them to the hospital. The corridor was crowded with people. There were no empty beds. Shen Youchu saw this scene from upstairs and instructed Liu Qiang, arrange a ward for young Master Ling. The receptionist received the call and immediately shouted, a VIP ward has just become available. Ling Fan was overjoyed. Sister Shen Zin, you really have a way. Shen Zin accepted the credit. The group entered the ward. I followed closely behind, but was stopped at the door by Ling Fan. Ling Yu, my mother needs quiet rest. Do not disturb her. The door closed with a bang. I stood frozen in place. My heart was burning with anxiety, but I had no right to enter. I could only sit down on the bench. Not long after, a sound of hurried footsteps approached. Ling Zhenan rushed into the ward with a worried face. After confirming Mrs. Ling was not in critical condition, he pulled Ling Fan out of the room. Ling Zhenan frowned and asked, what happened? Why did she suddenly faint? Ling Fan looked at me sitting nearby. It was Ling Yu. He insisted on meeting Dr. Yu, had a few arguments with Sister Shen Zin, and made Mom angry. Ling Zhenan immediately glared at me. You brat. Without a word, he raised his arm and started hitting me. I didn't die. My mind was filled with Mrs. Ling's pale face. Perhaps, as Ling Fan said, my presence itself is her misfortune. The expected pain did not come. I opened my eyes and saw a cold figure blocking the way in front of me. Shen Youchu stood there, as if shielding me from the world. Ling Zhenan said flusteredly, Miss Shen, what are you? Mr. Ling is disciplining his son. I shouldn't have interfered, but grandmother likes him now. She would be sad to see injuries on young Master Ling's face. Shen Youchu's voice was low and pleasant. Ling Zhenan immediately said it was his lack of consideration. The sound of Mrs. Ling coughing came from the ward. Ling Zhenan and Ling Fan immediately went inside. I stood at the door hesitating for a long time, hearing her weak voice from inside. I'm fine, don't worry. I haven't slept well in a long time. Just now when I fainted, I slept very comfortably. Only then did my heart relax. Shen Youchu asked, not going in. Not for now. Otherwise, it'll be another war of words, disturbing Mrs. Ling's rest. I spoke in a low voice. Just as I turned around, the old lady walked over supported by the butler. I heard my granddaughter's husband's mother is hospitalized. I've come to see. I supported her arm. Grandmother's, Mrs. Ling is not my mother. Did I mistake her? The old lady took out her phone, found a photo, and handed it to me. Granddaughter's husband, this is what you sent me before, saying it was you and your mother. Could it be that the person in the ward isn't the person in the photo? I was stunned for a moment. In the photo, Mrs. Ling and I were sitting by the seaside, smiling brightly, looking exactly like a mother and son. But I haven't seen her since I left the Ling family. How could there be a photo together? I zoomed in on the photo and found a clue. This is a clumsy composite photo. When did I send this to you? The old lady shook her head. She didn't remember. Then how did I send it to you? Via email or text message? She continued to shake her head. Unable to recall. I felt a bit helpless, but the old lady's attitude was firm. Grandson-in-law, she is your mother. You cannot ignore your mother. After seeing the old lady off, Shen Youchu stood in the corridor. Liu Qiang soon came over to report. Boss, I've looked into it. Young Master Ling went to work at that private restaurant and then encountered the Ling family. Shen Youchu's voice was cold. Is the salary the Shen group pays him too low? Otherwise, why would he go work outside? It's not low. It was arranged by the old madam. Maybe the tasks assigned by the supervisor were too difficult, and he was worried about being fired. But Shen Youchu felt it wasn't that simple. What were the Ling family doing at the private restaurant? They had an appointment with Dr. Yu. Miss Shen Zin went there for this reason as well. What about Dr. Yu? He never showed up in the end. A faint light flickered in the depths of Shen Youchu's eyes. A ridiculous idea vaguely occurred to her. Inside the ward, Mrs. Ling felt much better after resting. Ling Fan told Shen Zin to leave first. Ling Fan looked embarrassed. Shen Zin stayed here purely to wait for Dr. Yu. Mrs. Ling realized this and handed the phone to me. Since the appointment was missed today, she should explain it to Dr. Yu. After Mrs. Ling rescheduled the time, Ling Fan then saw Shen Zin out. In the corridor, Ling Fan said, "Sister Shen Zin, don't worry. There definitely won't be any problems with Dr. Yu. There are a few stubborn people in the R&D department of Shen Group who are dissatisfied. As long as I can invite Dr. Yu to join, I'll be considered to have made a contribution and secured my position. So Dr. Yu is very important to me. You must persuade him." The two entered the elevator. I stepped out from the corner, pushed the door open, and entered the ward. Ling Zhenen's face immediately darkened. "What are you still doing here? Get out. Is it Ling Yu? Quickly let him in." Mrs. Ling's gentle voice sounded. Ling Zhenen warned me not to make Mrs. Ling angry. "I told you already. It wasn't because of Ling Yu today. It's just that I haven't slept well for several days." Mrs. Ling scolded him lightly and held my hand. "Child, you must have been frightened today." Her palm was very warm. I smiled and said, "No. You should come home and visit more often in the future. And that wife of yours, your mother said she's a little hoodlum. But I don't believe it. Ling Yu has had good taste since he was a child, and is principled. The person you've set your sights on must have some strengths. Bring her to see me some other day." My nose tingled. "Okay." She started coughing violently again. I took out a plastic bottle. "This is the cough medicine I asked someone to buy. Take one pill when you can't sleep at night." Mrs. Ling nodded in agreement. After giving the medicine, I exited the ward. I heard Ling Zhenen say disdainfully inside, "How could he be bought by just one bottle of medicine from some unknown small clinic?" He casually threw the medicine bottle into the trash can. In the middle of the night, Mrs. Ling woke up coughing again, anxious to the point of having suicidal thoughts. As if possessed, she picked up from the trash can the medicine inside and took one pill. A sense of coolness instantly enveloped her itchy throat. She fell asleep in a daze. The next morning at 10 o'clock, Mrs. Ling was woken up by Ling Zhenen. She actually slept until broad daylight. "The sleeping pills the doctor gave yesterday really worked. You actually slept for a full 10 hours. Nanny Nan's eyes turned red with excitement. "What pills?" Mrs. Ling was confused. Nanny Nan looked at Ling Fan. "Miss Shen Zin found them for you. She specifically found strong sleeping pills and added them to your medicine. I didn't expect them to actually work." Mrs. Ling paused. She felt her throat had cleared up a lot. My gaze fell on the unlabeled plastic bottle by the pillow. Ling Zhenen praised his daughter-in-law highly. "This daughter-in-law is truly wonderful. I heard the inpatient department has been full lately. It was Shen Zin who used many connections to arrange this hospital room. We have her to thank this time." Ling Fan took advantage of the momentum. "Mom, Sister Shen Zin is so filial to you. Please help her too. The family wants Sister Shen Zin to manage the R&D department, but those researchers are not convinced. If Dr. Yu could be invited as an external technical support, Sister Shen Zin would be able to establish her footing." Mrs. Ling hesitated for a moment before saying, "Then I'll ask Dr. Yu, but if he doesn't agree, then forget it." Ling Fan was beaming with a smile. In his view, as long as Mrs. Ling asked, Dr. Yu had never refused. Mrs. Ling took out her phone, found Dr. Yu's profile picture, carefully chose her words, and sent a message. "Xiao Yu, are you free? I'd like to ask you for a favor." When I received the message, I had just returned from taking the old lady for a walk downstairs. I frowned. Why would Mrs. Ling be looking for me? Could there be a problem with yesterday's medicine? That medicine is still in the clinical trial stage, seeing that her condition was severe. I brought it out ahead of time. I felt a bit anxious. I asked the caregiver to take the old lady back to her room and hurried over to Mrs. Ling. Soon I arrived at the ward. I found that both Shen Zin and Liu Li were there. Laughter and chatter stopped abruptly the moment I entered the door. I felt out of place. Seeing that Mrs. Ling was fine, I lowered my eyes and intended to leave. But Liu Li spoke up. "Isn't this young Master Ling? How did you manage to cling to old Mrs. Shen's high branch? Are people like us no longer worthy of your sight?" I turned to leave, but she grabbed me. "I heard you're now solely focused on pleasing old Mrs. Shen, cleaning up waste and urine all night. Do you think she'll treat you like her own grandson? What kind of daydream are you having? You're nothing more than a toy to her." Ling Fan hurriedly said, "Don't say that. Old Mrs. Shen values Ling Yu very much." Liu Li raised her voice. "What kind of valuing is that? Miss Shen Zin's feelings for you, Ling Fan, are true value." She looked at Shen Zin flatteringly. "I heard there were no rooms available yesterday." Even families with good backgrounds had to queue. It was all thanks to Miss Shen Zin's help that the madam could stay in the VIP ward. Shen Zin looked at me with a humble smile. Auntie probably didn't know about this. Otherwise, she would have helped too. It was just a small effort on my part. Even if Miss Shen knew, she wouldn't have bothered with you. Liu Li mocked me again. No matter how much you flatter her, she's just playing with you like a cat or a dog. I clenched my fists. Not wanting to argue in the ward, Shen Youchu, arriving outside the door, heard everything. Her expression was cold and grim. Liu Qiang instantly understood the boss's meaning. He coughed and walked into the room. Mrs. Ling, I've come on behalf of President Shen to pay my respects. Are you comfortable in this room? The room fell silent. Everyone looked at Shen Zin. She looked bewildered. Liu Li was stunned. Then she smiled. Miss Shen Zin, so this room was arranged by you asking Miss Shen. Shen Zin's face froze, but Liu Qiang smiled. This was arranged by the boss at Mr. Ling's request. Miss Shen Zin, did you also ask the boss? Shen Zin was so embarrassed, she wanted to sink into the floor. I made many phone calls at the time. I contacted several people. I was mistaken. Ling Fan clenched his fists tightly, feeling only humiliation. Mrs. Ling broke the awkward atmosphere. Thank you, Miss Shen. I am staying very well here. Once my health improves, I will visit the old madam. Liu Qiang said, as long as you're staying well. And Mr. Ling is not worried. Our old madam will be happy. These words were clearly elevating me. The hearts of the few people in the room sank. Mrs. Ling, however, was genuinely happy. I looked toward Liu Li. My mockery was fully evident. Liu Li was infuriated. You brat. What are you so smug about? Shut up. Ling Zhenan shouted angrily. Madam is ill and needs quiet rest. Why are you barking here? Get the hell home. Liu Li glared at me resentfully and ran away, covering her face. I looked at the hospital bed. Madam, how did you sleep last night? Mrs. Ling subconsciously gripped the small medicine bottle under the quilt. I slept very well. I haven't slept this well in a long time. That's good, I'll be going now. Liu Qiang and I stepped out. Shen Youchu was leaning against the corridor wall, looking at her phone. The light and shadow reflected her cold profile. Seeing me come out, she spoke. Grandmother was worried and insisted that I come and see for myself, although her voice was distant, but my heart was filled with emotion. Thank you. The ward door opened. Shen Zin and Ling Fan walked out, seeing me and Shen Youchu standing together. Ling Fan looked as if he were facing a great enemy. Shen Zin instinctively questioned, Aunt, why are you here? Shen Youchu's eyes showed relief. It seems I don't need to report my whereabouts to you. The strong pressure made Shen Zin's palms sweat. She looked at me with jealousy. Young Master Ling, you've been in the hospital taking care of great-grandmother. Does your wife not mind? I glanced at Shen Youchu with some confusion. With a half-smile, I said, she probably doesn't mind. Shen Zin's expression changed drastically. Shen Youchu suddenly spoke. Going back to the ward. Grandmother is waiting for you. I smiled faintly and said, let's go back. We turned and left, leaving behind Shen Zin with a sinister look in her eyes. She returned to Mrs. Ling's ward. While tidying the bedding, she exclaimed, why is there a bottle of medicine on the bed? Ling Zhenan frowned. Isn't this the uncertified medicine Ling Yu gave? Xia, why did you pick it up again? I took one last night. It felt like it worked. Mrs. Ling explained. How is that possible? It was clearly the sleeping pills that worked. Ling Zhenan snatched the medicine. I don't know where he bought the medicine he gave. What if it harms your health? Don't throw it away. I'll try not taking that one tonight, to see which medicine actually works. Late at night, Mrs. Ling suffered another severe coughing fit. Nanny Nan held the sleeping pills, praised as a miracle drug, but found they were completely useless. Mrs. Ling's face turned red from coughing. Then Nanny Nan rushed out to get my medicine. Just as she was about to administer the medicine, Ling Fan grabbed her hand. Mother, could the worsening cough be caused by this medicine? This medicine of unknown origin. It's better not to take it. Ling Zhenan also said angrily. This Ling Yu, Xia, you are so good to him, yet he uses medicine to harm you. Mrs. Ling was coughing so hard she couldn't speak. She stared intently at Nanny Nan. Nanny Nan was the most loyal. Braving the pressure, she put the medicine into the madam's mouth. The coughing stopped instantly. Mrs. Ling breathed a sigh of relief, confirming that Ling Yu's medicine had worked. The group went to the outer room. Ling Fan's face was pale. Father, Ling Yu actually managed to buy a special drug. What capability could he possibly have? He must have asked Miss Shen to help buy it. Ling Zhenan frowned deeply. It seems old Madam Shen really values him. In the VIP ward, Shen Youchu was chatting with grandmother. What did you eat for lunch today? The old lady thought for a long while. White porridge? No, it doesn't seem so. It was noodles. Silly girl, right? Shen Youchu nodded with a smile, but her heart sank. Lunch was rice. Grandmother forgot again. Her memory loss seems to be getting worse. I suddenly spoke up lazily. Grandmothers, what color were Miss Shen's earrings yesterday? The old lady immediately said, purple. The silly girl is most particular about purple. She even wore diamond cufflinks. What about the day before yesterday? The day before yesterday was blue. I was the one who bought those blue earrings for her. I looked at Shen Youchu with a faint smile. Meaningfully, Grandmother remembers things she cares about very clearly. Shen Youchu looked at me. I was curled up in a beanbag chair, fiddling with my phone. Casual posture. Those words just now were to comfort her. Her anxious heart seemed to be slowly calmed. The old lady suddenly smiled. Grandson-in-law, everything I just said is correct, right? I nodded and said yes. You brat. Do you see? Grandson-in-law, he even remembers what you wear every day so clearly. He has you in his heart. I was stunned. I just have a photographic memory. I didn't intentionally remember. I was about to explain, but I saw Shen Youchu just staring at the computer, ignoring us. What I didn't notice was the tips of her ears were slightly red. I continued studying the information on my phone. I still had no clue about the final steps for the Alzheimer's research. I stood up to take a walk. Just as I went downstairs to walk the dog, someone tapped me on the shoulder. I looked back. It was Liu Li's gambling-addicted younger brother, my uncle Liu Yeguan. Nephew, long time no see. I took a step back. What are you doing here? Didn't I hear that you've curried favor with the Shen family? Uncle is a bit short on cash lately. Can you lend some money to your uncle? I sneered and said I had no money. You served that old woman so well. She didn't give you any money. I narrowed my eyes. Not yet. Maybe she will give some later. He just smiled sleazily. Then you must lend it to your uncle when the time comes. If you give enough, Uncle can tell you a secret. He left with a chuckle. I scoffed. Coincidentally, the phone rang. I picked it up and looked. It was actually Mrs. Ling calling. At this time, in the other ward, Ling Fan saw that Dr. Yu had not responded for a long time. Shen Zin was pressing him hard, so he took advantage of Mrs. Ling's deep sleep and stole her phone. He found Xiao Yu in the contacts and dialed directly. The call connected. My tone grew cold. Does Mrs. Ling need something? Ling Fan was suddenly stunned. Ling Yu. He widened his eyes in disbelief. He would never mistake this voice. My heart sank and my voice grew colder. Ling Fan, what are you doing with Mrs. Ling's phone? Is this your phone number? I was a bit incoherent. What nonsense are you talking? Only then did Ling Fan realize. There is also a Yu in Ling Yu's name. Mrs. Ling occasionally calls him Xiao Yu. He breathed a huge sigh of relief. Ling Fan dropped his disguise and said viciously, I just want to tell you, even if you've tied yourself to Miss Shen through the old Mrs. Shen, at most you are just a toy. Miss Shen has a husband, but I am different. I will marry Sister Shen Zin in the future and become a legitimate son-in-law of the Shen family. Then congratulations. In wealthy families, feelings alone aren't enough. I hold Dr. Yu, a great general, in my hand and will always remain undefeated. After hanging up, my mouth twitched. Since when did I become Ling Fan's general? Immediately after, the green bubble of Dr. Yu under Mrs. Ling's name rang. It was Ling Fan again. I turned on the voice changer to answer. Ling Fan's tone was extremely respectful. Hello, Dr. Yu. Sorry for disturbing you. I am Li Xia's son, Ling Fan. The Shen Group wants to invite you to their R&D team. My mother also feels this way. May I ask if you are interested? I interrupted coldly. I am only responsible for companies under Mrs. Ling's name. After saying that, I hung up directly. The week arrived. I went back to work at the Shen Group. Just as I left the hospital, I was planning to take a taxi. A Bentley stopped steadily beside me. Shen Youchu looked straight ahead and said, Get in. Grandma asked me to drive you to work. Shen Youchu glanced at me. I want to take a photo. I got into the back seat. She held up her phone and took a photo of the two of us. I made a peace sign, smiling brightly. Shen Youchu was actually a bit dazed. Arrived at the company, I headed straight for the 60th floor archive. At this time, the R&D department announced Shen Zin's promotion to vice president. Consequently, she hired Dr. Yu. Inside the top floor office, Liu Qiang was reporting my movements. His purpose for entering the Shen Corporation was to research data. He spent the whole morning in the library. He hasn't even had lunch yet. Shen Youchu's eyes flickered. She went downstairs alone to find me, in front of the neurology bookshelf. I was on a ladder reaching for materials on the top shelf. After I got the book, I was overjoyed. My foot slipped and I fell. I happened to land right on top of Shen Youchu. Seeing it was her, I quickly got up. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Shen Youchu took a moment before standing up. Her ears were red, but she pretended not to care. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. I made up an excuse and slipped away. Before leaving, I hid that important book in an inconspicuous corner. When I returned to the library in the afternoon, I found the book was gone. I was completely puzzled. Then I realized only one person in the entire company could just take the book. Top floor, Shen Youchu was browsing through that profound neurology text. Her brows were furrowed. Liu Qiang was muttering beside her. Boss, Ling Yu is simply ungrateful. He isn't here to work at all. That's right, he wasn't here to work in the first place. Shen Youchu replied indifferently. Liu Qiang asked if the book should be returned. Shen Youchu tapped her fingertips on the book, thinking of my expectant peach blossom eyes today. Her heart felt inexplicably restless. Not for now. Quitting time. The Bentley was parked in the underground garage. Liu Qiang asked, "Boss?" "No rush." Shen Youchu held that thick reference book in her hand. Until I got into the car, she looked up and said, "Let's go." Liu Qiang was a bit stunned. The boss didn't seem to have invited young Master Ling. After work, we arrived at the hospital. Just as we reached the VIP ward area, I heard Liu Li's flattering voice. "Old Madam, I came specifically to see you. Speaking of which, we really have a destiny." Old Madam Shen blocked the doorway, staring at her. "If you don't leave, I'll have someone beat you up." Liu Li smiled apologetically. "I am Ling Yu's mother." "Old Madam, don't you like him the most? For his sake. You shouldn't treat me like this. You are not his mother." Old Madam Shen said firmly. "Madam Ling is his real mother." Liu Li instantly broke into a cold sweat. She instinctively asked back, "How do you know?" She was terrified. The matter of swapping the children. Only she and her brother Liu Yeguang knew. Why was old Madam Shen so certain? Seeing me and Shen Youchu approach, Liu Li guiltily restrained herself. She walked up to me and handed over a thermos. "Ling Yu, Mom came to bring you chicken soup. You've worked hard taking care of the old madam. Eat more to nourish yourself." I felt it was ironic. I asked indifferently, "What do you want?" "Still those remaining 2% of shares. Old Madam Shen values you so much. If you ask, she will definitely agree. Help your brother. Otherwise, in front of Shenzin, he can't hold his head up at all." My eyes turned cold as I said, "I won't help." Liu Li's face froze. She simply sat on the ground and wailed. "Fine. I suffered so much to give birth to you. And now that you've climbed a high branch, you've become heartless. Everyone come and see. This son of mine is an ungrateful wolf. He despises me for my humble origins. He wants to be someone else's grandson." The surrounding medical staff pointed and whispered. I watched her calmly. The sense of helplessness in my heart grew stronger. "Keep making a scene and disturbing others' rest, and security will escort you out." After saying that, I walked straight past her. Liu Li was furious. Ungrateful wolf. She suddenly jumped up and violently splashed the chicken soup at me. "Look out." A pair of cold hands pulled me into an embrace. Shen Youchu blocked me from behind, bearing all the heat for me. My pupils contracted, hurriedly asking how you are. "I'm fine." She frowned slightly and looked at Liu Li, who had run away in fear. Entering the ward, the old lady anxiously pulled at her clothes. "Take it off quickly. Let me see how bad the burn is. Are there any blisters? Does it hurt?" "Grandson-in-law, come quickly and apply the medicine." The old lady shoved the medicine into my hand. Everyone else was kicked out. "Grandson-in-law, I'm leaving her to you." Only 2 people remained in the ward. Shen Youchu said softly, "It's Grandma being impulsive. I'll call the nurse in." "Let me do it." I walked behind her. The twilight shadows fell on her back. My fingertips touched the ointment, gently applying it. She remained silent throughout, until the medicine was finished. She tidied her hair again. "Thank you, young Master Ling." "You're welcome. Actually, you didn't have to block it for me. You got hurt. Grandma would be very sad." Shen Youchu looked at me steadily. "Have you forgotten that you are now my husband?" My heart skipped a beat. I always feel that the current Shen Youchu seems a bit different. I'm going to step out for a moment." "Where are you going?" "For revenge." I originally wanted to find Liu Li, but I spotted Ling Fan and Uncle Liu Yeguang in the hallway. Liu Yeguang rubbed his hands. "Good nephew, your uncle is a bit short on cash." Ling Fan suppressed his anger. "I already gave you my allowance for this month. Anyway, I can't survive like this. If you don't give it to me, I'll tell the truth." "He will definitely give a large sum of money." I pushed the door open and entered. My voice was cold. "What truth?" Ling Fan jumped up in fright. "Ling Yu, what are you doing? Eavesdropping on us?" I looked directly at Liu Yeguang. "Keep talking. What truth?" "I can give you money." "How much can you give?" Liu Yeguang's eyes lit up. Ling Fan said frantically, "The money you want. I'll find a way to give it to you. Now you can get lost." Before leaving, Liu Yeguang whispered to me, "Dear nephew, this secret of mine is always valid for you. As long as you pay a high enough price, I will definitely sell it to you." I sent a message to Jai Yue. "Check Liu Yeguang's background." Looking back, Ling Fan was about to leave. I said indifferently, "If you don't want others to know, then do not do it. The matter between you and Liu Yeguang. Did you think I couldn't find out?" Ling Fan froze. "What are you talking about? I don't understand. How big of a handle does he have on you to make you give him money every month? What nonsense are you talking? I suggest that if you have the energy, you should think carefully about your own way out. Stop wasting time on me." "Where is Liu Li?" "That's your mother. Why ask me? How should I know?" Ling Fan quickly fled. I dialed Liu Li's number. "I want you to come back and apologize to Miss Shen." "I won't. Miss Shen won't let me off. You apologize for me. The child pays the mother's debt. In that case, then don't blame me for calling the police." "Why are you calling the police?" "I am your mother. The person I wanted to hit was you. It's only natural for a mother to hit her child." I hung up immediately. Liu Li injured Shen Youchu and was eventually detained for 48 hours. Returning to the ward, Shen Youchu was in a meeting in the RV downstairs. I sat by the bed. "I'm sorry." The old lady waved her hand. "Grandson-in-law, why say such things between family? Besides, seeing that brat defend you, I'm more than happy about it." Those words made my eyes sting slightly. At this time, Ling Fan scraped together 50,000 yuan for Liu Yeaguang. And added a note, keep your mouth shut. And added a note, watch your mouth. Otherwise, none of us will end up well. He was terrified deep down, only wanting to marry Shen Zin as soon as possible. As long as he becomes the Shen family's son-in-law. Even if his identity is exposed, he will still have a way out. 9 p.m. Shen Zin suddenly approached Ling Fan. Ling Fan said with surprise, "Sister Shen Zin, why are you here?" Shen Zin asked sharply, "Regarding Dr. Yu, are you sure you've settled it with him?" Ling Fan's eyes flickered. "Of course, then arrange a meeting between me and Dr. Yu." Ling Fan nervously fidgeted with his fingers. "Dr. Yu has gone abroad. I'll arrange it once he returns." "Sister Shen Zin, do you have some problem that needs solving? I'll help you contact him." Shen Zin stared at him suspiciously. "I've sent the problem to your email. Send it to Dr. Yu and ask Dr. Yu to help solve it." "Okay, I'll forward it to him right now." Ling Fan knew Mrs. Ling's email password by heart. He noticed Dr. Yu always replied instantly to Mrs. Ling's emails and never asked too many questions. That's why he dared to lie. He operated his phone and forwarded it immediately. "Dr. Yu usually replies to my messages instantly. Sister Shen Zin, please wait a moment." In the VIP ward, my phone vibrated. I glanced at it. It was an email from Mrs. Ling. "Xiao Yu, can you help solve this problem?" As expected, the attachment was a technical problem from the Shen group. I sneered. Ling Fan actually used Mrs. Ling's name to ask for my help. I replied coldly, "I am only responsible to the Ling family. Problems of the Shen group are not my concern." The notification sound rang on Ling Fan's end. He opened the email with a face full of smiles, but the smile froze the moment he saw the content. Shen Zin frowned and asked what was wrong. Ling Fan suppressed his nervousness and forced a smile. "Dr. Yu said, this problem will take a few days to solve." Shen Zin breathed a sigh of relief. "That's normal. This problem is indeed quite difficult. I bet with the people in Ling Yu's group. There's no problem providing the solution by Friday, right?" "No problem." But Ling Fan's eyes were flickering. Shen Zin returned to the Shen family home. Her father, Shen Youchu, surprisingly smiled at her. "As expected of my good daughter, to actually be able to invite Dr. Yu, you'll be able to establish a firm footing in the R&D department so quickly." Her mother, Liu Mijin, also wept with joy. Shen Zin clenched her fists. Since she chose the path of marriage alliance, she would never regret it. As for Ling Fan, he can only be hers. On the other side, I sneezed and continued working at my desk. The cup was empty, and suddenly it darkened in front of me. Shen Youchu filled a glass of water and placed it on the small coffee table. I was slightly stunned. "Thanks." "You're welcome." "It was nothing." Shen Youchu naturally sat back in her place. The old lady looked at us, smiling ear to. She had already started flipping through a dictionary to name her great-grandson. The next day at the R&D department, Shen Zin stopped me in the lounge area. "There is an industry exchange, meeting about new energy tonight. Only the big shots in the industry can attend." It said that Dr. Yu might also attend. I didn't stop walking. "And then, the Shen Group R&D department has invitation letters. I can take you to see the world and make more connections." "No need, thanks." I entered the office without looking back. Team leader Ling Yingqiao sneered, thinking an invitation letter could buy him. "Ling Yu isn't that short-sighted." Shen Zin said coldly, "You should understand. I can bring him better resources." "That kind of gathering, do you think just anyone can go?" "At least I can take him." When getting off work, Ling Yingqiao stopped me. "There's some work tonight. Come with me." I didn't think much of it. Sent an overtime message to Shen Youchu. Then I got into her car, arrived at the entrance of the cocktail party. But the waiter stopped Ling Yingqiao. "Sorry, Ms. Ling. The people coming from the Shen group today have already been reported to us. Your name is not on the list." Shen Zin walked out holding a glass of champagne. Shen Zin narrowed her eyes and said, "In the middle of Group B's R&D task, I thought you wouldn't come, so I declined on your behalf during registration. Now it seems too late to stay home. You should just go back." Ling Yingqiao was burning with rage. "Shen Zin, you've gone too far. What right do you have to decline for me? I am the deputy director of the R&D department. Of course I can make decisions for you." Shen Zin turned to look at me. "Ling Yu, do you see clearly? Without my consent, you can't even enter this gate." I looked up calmly. "Is that so?" I took out the one sent by Jia Yue in my email, the electronic invitation, and handed it to the waiter. "Can I enter now?" The waiter took one look and immediately stepped aside respectfully. "Please come in." Shen Zin's face changed drastically, staring at the real name invitation on my phone. "In what capacity did you get this invitation?" "None of your business." I turned off the screen and asked Ling Yingqiao, "Shall we go?" Ling Yingqiao was overjoyed, leading me into the venue to introduce industry giants. While exchanging pleasantries, Ling Fan and Shen Zin walked over. When President Ling and other seniors saw Ling Fan, they immediately crowded around him. "Young Master Ling, when exactly will Dr. Yu appear, so we can seek his guidance?" Ling Fan enjoyed the attention and pretended to be modest. I only came today to accompany my fiancée. Shen Zin also took the opportunity to network. Ling Yingke was pushed to the edge and whispered to me, Jia Yue will be here soon. You don't need to be shy. Be a bit thicker-skinned and offer a toast. Too many people want to know her. My mouth twitched. I'll introduce you later. Ling Yingqiao thought I was just bragging. At that moment, there was a commotion at the door. Jia Yue has arrived. Ling Fan naturally adjusted his suit and walked toward me. Ling Yu, do you need me to introduce you to President Jai? Shen Zin also mocked. Do you think Jia Yue is the kind of woman who likes handsome men? So many handsome men tried to pester her, but she remained indifferent. Do you really think you have that much charm? Ling Fan led Shen Zin toward Jia Yue. President Jai, before he could finish speaking, Jia Yue swept past them like a gust of wind. Under the stunned gazes of everyone, she rushed to me with joy. Why are you here? This scene instantly plunged the room into deathly silence. Ling Fan's outstretched hand froze in midair. The smile on his face hadn't had time to fade before it froze into a ridiculous look of terror. Shen Zin was even more dumbfounded. The champagne glass in her hand almost slipped. President Jai, have you mistaken him for someone else? Ling Fan spoke in a trembling voice. He is Ling Yu, just an idle person in our family. Jia Yue ignored him completely. She just looked at me with burning eyes. Boss, I sent dozens of emails inviting you to attend, but you said you were unavailable, so you came on an incognito visit. I smiled helplessly, accompanying a leader to handle some private matters. Boss, Shen Zin screamed out. Her voice changed pitch. Jia Yue, you call him boss. Isn't he that Ling Yu who lives off his thug wife? Jia Yue turned her head with a cold face. Her gaze was like a knife as she said, Miss Shen, please behave yourself. The person standing before you is the technical core that your Shen group has been desperately seeking but couldn't get, and is also the rumored Dr. Yu, who has never appeared. After she spoke, a suppressed gasp erupted from the crowd. Impossible. Ling Fan completely lost his composure. He pointed at me and roared, Dr. Yu has clearly been in contact with my mother. How could he be this illegitimate son? Ling Yu, what benefits did you give Jia Yue to make her act in this play with you? I stepped forward and looked at him coldly. Ling Fan, you stole Madam Ling's phone to send emails. Did you really think I didn't know? That sentence, only responsible to the Ling family. Didn't you just receive it? Ling Fan's face instantly turned pale. His legs gave out and he collapsed to the ground. Shen Zin swayed unsteadily. She looked at me, her eyes full of regret and absurdity. She always thought I was struggling in the mud, so she wanted to humiliate me with 50,000 yuan. But in the blink of an eye, I became the god she had to look up to. Just then, a commotion came from outside the door. Madam Ling actually walked in, supported by Nanny Nan. Her complexion was rosy and her stride steady, with no sign of yesterday's illness. Ling Yu, Madam Ling walked straight toward me, tears in her eyes. You developed that medicine yourself, didn't you? I nodded. Do you feel better? Much better. Madam Ling turned to look at Ling Zhenan and Liu Li. Her voice was cold and firm. Zhenan, haven't you always wanted to meet Dr. Yu? He is right here, and my confidant Chen Jai has already told me the truth about that year. Nanny Nan stepped forward and stared at Liu Li. Liu Li, did you think swapping children at the hospital could be hidden for a lifetime? I have been investigating for all these years, and observing you. As a woman, you ignored your own son. Yet you were unusually attentive to someone else's son. I felt something was wrong long ago. I have already completed the paternity test. She threw out a report. Ling Zhenan took it with trembling hands. After seeing the result, he suddenly turned around and slapped Liu Li across the face. How dare you swap your bastard for my son? Liu Li let out a scream and collapsed completely. Ling Fan looked at the report and cried out in despair. No, I am the eldest young master of the Ling family. I am the rightful heir. I watched all this coldly. Status, wealth, these things that once bound me now seem as light as a feather in my eyes. Boss, the car is ready, Jia Yue reminded me in a low voice. I turned to leave, but my hand was gently pulled. Shen Youchu had stood behind me since some time. She had changed into a dark and colored long dress. The wound on her back was hidden under the clothes, but the look in her eyes was no longer as cold as before. Mr. Ling, she spoke softly, with a hint of dependence. She didn't even notice herself. Grandmother is still at the hospital waiting for us to go home. I looked at her. The softest part of my heart was gently touched. All right, let's go home. As we walked out of the banquet hall, Shen Zin rushed out, crying bitterly. Ling Yu, I was wrong. Can we go back to how we were in college? I didn't stop walking and left a sentence without looking back. Miss Shen, you once said an illegitimate child and a thug are a perfect match. I think you and the current Ling Fan are the true match made in heaven. Behind me was Shen Zin's desperate crying, and ahead was the brilliant night view of Heicheng. In the car, Shen Youchu suddenly asked me, that book on neurology, When will you return it to me? I raised an eyebrow and looked at her. Is President Shen checking up on me? She turned her face to look out the window, her ears slightly red. I'm afraid that as Dr. Yu, you might run away one day, and grandmother would tear down the Shen group. I burst into laughter and naturally put my arm around her shoulder. This time she didn't dodge. Don't worry, the contract hasn't expired yet. Besides, I haven't officially become a permanent husband yet. 3 months later, the day the clinical drug for Alzheimer's was successfully developed, the first rain since autumn began fell in Heicheng. When I came out of the laboratory, I saw Shen Youchu standing at the door, holding a black umbrella. Wearing that ink-colored long dress I had seen countless times. She seemed to have waited for a long time. Fine raindrops clung to the ends of her hair. Grandmother asked me to pick you up. Her tone was still indifferent, but I could already tell from that expressionless face something slightly different. Her ears were red again. I walked over and naturally took the umbrella, pulling her closer under the umbrella. President Shen coming to pick me up personally. I am flattered. She glanced at me. She didn't speak, but she didn't dodge either. The car drove toward the Shen family's old residence. On the way, she suddenly spoke. That divorce agreement. I turned to look at her. She paused. My gaze fell on the rain scenery flashing past the window. Her voice was so soft it sounded like she was talking to herself. Grandmother tore it. I was stunned for a moment. Then I smiled. Then what should we do? Shen Youchu paused, rarely showing a hint of embarrassment. She said she had gone to great lengths to find me a grandson-in-law. We can't divorce. I didn't speak. Just looking at her, she finally turned her head, meeting my gaze. Outside the window, the rain drizzled. Inside the car, it was quiet enough to hear each other's breathing. Her eyes were bright, like starlight fallen after the rain. She called my name. Her voice was clear and cool, yet carrying a softness that even she didn't notice. Give that medicine of yours to grandmother. Start the first course of treatment tonight. She nodded, remained silent for a while, then spoke, thank you. I looked at her, suddenly wanting to tease her for just a verbal thank you. She was stunned for a moment, seemingly not expecting me to say that. That face, always cold as frost, actually showed a hint of helplessness. I started laughing, reached out to rub her hair. Just teasing you. She glared at me, but didn't dodge my hand. The car stopped at the entrance of the Shen family's old residence. The rain had stopped. A sliver of sunset appeared on the horizon. The old lady had been waiting at the door for a long time. Seeing us get out of the car, she immediately came forward with a smile. One hand pulling me, one hand pulling Shen Youchu, dragging us into the house. Quick, quick, quick. We're just waiting for you to eat. At the dining table, the old lady put food in my bowl one moment, and in Shen Youchu's bowl the next, murmuring, eat more, grandson-in-law. And you, brat, eat more too. Both of you have gotten thin. Rarely, Shen Youchu didn't argue against being called a brat, just eating quietly, occasionally glancing up at me. After the meal, the old lady pulled us to sit in the courtyard and drink tea. The sunset dyed the entire courtyard a warm orange. The air had the fresh scent of soil after the rain. The old lady suddenly said, grandson-in-law, brat, I have something to tell you. Shen Youchu and I looked at her at the same time. The old lady was smiling, but there was a glint in her eyes. I remember now. I was stunned. How did you two get your marriage certificate? I remember now. It turned out our marriage certificate was all arranged by the old lady. We had been passively registered without knowing. The old lady looked at me with a smile. Grandson-in-law, you won't blame me, will you? I looked at Shen Youchu, then looked at the old lady, suddenly smiled. I don't blame you. The old lady nodded with satisfaction, looked at the two of us again, suddenly said, then when do you plan to have the wedding? Shen Youchu couldn't sit still anymore, stood up and wanted to leave. The old lady grabbed her. Where are you running? Still shy even though you're married. I watched this scene with a smile, suddenly feeling that this is probably the life I've always wanted. Shen Youchu finally broke free from the old lady's hand, walked to my side, whispered, let's go. I stood up, said goodbye to the old lady. She waved with a smile and secretly slipped me a note. After getting in the car, I opened the note. A line was written on it. Grandson-in-law, if that brat bullies you, just tell me. I'll help you deal with her. I couldn't help but laugh. Shen Youchu leaned in to look. After reading, she was silent for 2 seconds, then said, grandmother's handwriting is quite nice. I turned to look at her. She met my gaze and suddenly asked, Ling Yu, what are you laughing at? I looked at her, said seriously, laughing at how lucky I am. She was stunned for a moment. What? Married a wife without spending a penny? I said, although it's fake, but now it seems it's becoming real. She stared at me for several seconds, then shifted her gaze, looking out the car window, but I saw it, the slight curve of her lips turning upward. The car slowly drove into the night. The lights of Heicheng flow outside the window. Shen Youchu, I called her. Do you have time tomorrow? She turned to look at me. I looked at her with a smile in my eyes. Let's tear up that divorce agreement. She was silent for 2 seconds, then softly murmured. Her voice was very soft, yet heavier than all the promises in this world. Outside the window, the night in Haicheng is deep, and I feel that the night has only just begun.